just like a big old monopoly. Like maybe like 10 companies just handle most of the work.
What are the odds that Richard Hart doesn't release V3 tomorrow or whenever it is, and we have another leg down?
Oh, yeah. If he doesn't, if he tomorrow, I'll guarantee this. I put money on this, even though I'm not going to bet. But if he doesn't announce, if he says anything other than V3 is launching this day, we're gonna see another sell off. Like it's gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. That I've
Yeah,
actually got money on the
unfortunately.
side, waiting for that. So that's kind of my
Catch a
bet.
dip.
I'm not really a betting man, but I'm holding off on DCAing in until tomorrow or whenever that happens.
Yeah, I haven't bought anything in a while. It's over a month now.
Yeah, me too. I haven't bought
I bought
anything
a little
except
one around
Icosa.
it
That's
too.
about it.
I got a Icosa at 30 cents,
Oh,
Yeah,
there
that
you
was
go.
a good one right there.
That's a good move. Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
but
me too. Also, Brokey.
and
Yeah, that was
I 90 dayed it too. I felt like I'm sure glad I didn't make a lot of wallets for Zen, um, because I wasn't all burnout on wallets. So yeah,
There you
I did
go.
some 90 dayers.
yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's free.
Smart.
Yeah, I did it like 10 of them, but I threw them like 400. I threw like 400 days. I hope I remember. I figure instead of doing 100 wallets of few days, do few wallets of a lot of days, and that way it was just I was trying to make a move. Like one of the guys in the Celtic knows him had mentioned to get some of that, and then you could swap it for Pulse. And then I was like, so I was thinking it like a move to get more Pulse without being able
Oh,
to
that's a
get
good way
more
of thinking about
Pulse.
it.
Right? I was thinking, you know what? Maybe even if it's like 100 to 1 or something, but then you can swap like 100 million of one for a million of Pulse. I was like, sure, why not?
Talking about Zen,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because like I figure like the main goal is just I was thinking how can I buy Pulse right now? I don't want to sacrifice for it, and then I don't know when it comes out, so I threw a few of those to 400 days, and I figure in 400 days hopefully the fork the fork might have happened, and then I'll be able to have on both sides, and then I'll use both to buy more Pulse. It's just I'm
yeah.
trying
So
to
it's like
figure out what. Yeah,
flipping it's like taking the vampire tat coin and using its own tactics against itself.
yeah. Pretty much. It's just I see a lot of people using 60 days, 90 days, 100 days, and all I'm thinking is what we were going through at the end of 2020 and then 2021 when gas fees got expensive for us Hexicans, and then some people were doing really good in the sense that they were putting excuse me, they were doing stakes that did 20x, 100x. So $10 turn into this, $50 turn into that, but then they were spending. I mean, I saw it that anyone that wasn't consolidating, they were spending $400, $500 to get out 600, 700. And I think that's sadly, I think that's what's going to happen to that community. I see it a lot of people that they're trying to time the market, but then when Gwei goes to $100, that's going to eat up all their gains. And then in my case, I'm not trying to play that game. I'm just thinking, you know what? In 400 days, I'll have a coin that hopefully gets copied, and then I'll swap it for Pulse. So just trying to, I guess, just trying to figure out the cheapest way that I can buy Pulse without the thing being out.
well, I mean,
Say,
if get because I actually done something similar. I didn't go ape shit on those claims. I just like 20 wallets, man. Like fuck that. I ain't doing no damn
Yeah.
50. 80
I
fucking
didn't do it.
I
Yeah,
stopped
some people do crazy on
when I start
Jackpoint.
realizing that I had to
Oh,
create more than 10 wallets. I just stopped minting. Uh, they were all about bots. They were not users really. I heard what Richard said. I don't know. Yeah, I don't need his credit to dump for 8 years, man. So
Yeah,
Well,
like I
yeah.
said, I'm proud that I didn't get burnt out on making a lot of wallets. I didn't make any with Zen, and I'm really happy and excited to do that with 90-day Icosa stakes. So
there
yeah,
you
I'm all
go.
about it. I actually name all my addresses with the date that the end
Nice.
stink needs to happen, so I can just cycle through them all and know exactly when I need to get to work.
Like with Icosa, what I'm doing is I'm opening a new one every time I open a new one, because that way when they expire, I figure that I don't have to end it. I can just let it ride. And then if at some point or I need some money, then it's just there available. But if I don't need it, then it's still making me some yield.
Right. Well, you do you, but I'm definitely playing the compound game.
Nice. That's awesome. Dude, you'll
Well, it's one
you'll
of the only
you'll
sticks
make
you
a
can
ton of yield.
compound with. So it's a good way to take
Especially
advantage of it.
That's
especially the
awesome.
90-day. Like if you go on to hexmodel.com and you look
Mhm.
at the different classes of Icosa staking, you have whales taking up like 14.5 million worth of Icosa staked. The sharks are 7.5 million. The dolphins are
Yep.
3.4
Mhm.
million, and the squid only make up 350,000. I look at that
Uh-huh.
and I say, that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity to uh, work a little bit harder, and be able to increase my yield through compounding 90 days,
Nice.
which I think eventually will be 30 days with the turtle stakes. Um, but the
even
price has to appreciate.
improve your position inside of Hex. It's not only compounding.
Then,
Yeah, you can
question:
do that too.
when you do your compounding, do you add to it, or do you end it and add to it? How do you do that?
So
I ended
basically,
Android stake.
the compounding is basically, yeah, you end your stake, you take your yield from that stake, and you add it, and then that way that yield is then added, and then it can start earning yield as well. So basically, that's the whole
Nice.
game, is like all the yield that people have to sit on to actually compound, 180 days or 270 days.
Double your yield every 90 days.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the double. So basically, it's like a double share rate. It's like it's greater than the single share rate, and that's basically the game with Icosa. I was just thinking about like the gas fees that
Nice.
you brought up, and of course, that's a big area of discussion in the Hex community. But
Hmm.
if you make HSIs, you
Hmm.
could sell them to the contract. Say you don't have enough gas, and say we are close to ceiling price. You could just literally just sell your HSI to the Icosa contract and avoid paying the fees. But then you also have Hedron now in the future, right? That you're
Hmm.
going to be able to mint, and you
Right.
could potentially in the future mint and sell enough of your Hedron um, that's accrued, and that would pay for your gas fees. So that would be a really cool
Nice.
kind of reality in the future.
Awesome. Cool move.
Gotta love the
Like it.
system, man.
Right. I love it.
This is the best. Like just being a Hexagon is already so above. It's like the cream of the crop in crypto, and then to be able to have um you know all this utility built on top of it, and in such a way that is also trustless yield, is just a huge opportunity. It's basically Hex is the savings account, and Hedron and Icosa are like the checking account. I think when
Yeah,
Hedron
that's
appreciates in
true.
value, that the borrow function is going to come into play. But you know, the system is it's a very nuanced system, and there's a lot of moving parts, and ultimately it's rocket fuel for the hex price. It's gonna it incentivizes making the Cuatro Cincos because you get that 10% bonus. And because of that incentivization, I don't even know if that's a word, but like um yeah, I just it's just perfect, bro. It's perfect. I'm so excited to hear what Alex has to say when he starts streaming. I got to go read a bunch of his tweets. I think he had quite a tweet a tweet run there for the past day or so. I don't know if you guys have read them.
No, haven't. Oh yeah, yeah. The ones today, yeah. Yeah, I did read the ones today. I did react to them.
The idea that Alex is exposed a few days ago, I think it was amazing. Is directly saying even to all these people of sand that you don't need to attach the value to the consensus of the mining power of the net. So we're looking fiat through time, through teachers. It's different. A lot of work to do yet, I think.
Yeah. Oh, Alex hasn't stopped innovating at all, especially as far as this Icosa Hedron too. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just dropped something another day, just like he did. He was real silent when Hedron came out, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're gonna do staking. I got an idea for staking. I'm like, oh okay.
That was awesome.
I wouldn't be surprised he'll do the same thing with Icosa, something else. But I don't know what else can he do.
On that one, I
Wow.
was invited.
You know what's amazing is just us basically in participation with that Hedron, just us Hexicans.
Isn't that yeah, I remember talking about that in the summer. That there's so many people that not thinking about it that way, and then it's like, where are they going to make all this heal and they can lock it, like Rich was saying, in 30, 90. I mean, I'm making stakes even on the Icosa of the other chains, just
Oh
in
yeah,
case. Because I mean, like, it's still a ton of yield in that other. So I was like, you know what? Even if it's worth nothing,
oh yeah. I'm on Hex on the ETH doing that. So
I mean, it's still a good play. Because I mean, with Hex, what I'm doing on those is just I do Cuatro Cinco, and then I get a bunch of options with the Hedron because you can mint it, or you can take uh you can what is it? Get the advance on it. So it's a few more plays.
I think Hedron it will make what it has to do, but on Pulse Chain, we need a low fee for complete extract value of it.
yeah.
I said in the summer that Hedron could be the number one coin in Pulse, even better than Hex.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's
There's
just with
potential.
my right. 'Cause my thinking was, what if all these kids that have been buying all these JPEGs with no, no value, nothing, figure out financial NFTs. So I'm not
Yeah.
saying Hex is going to lose value, but I think that all of a sudden other people are going to figure out new things, I guess is what I'm saying. And if there's a cheap gas, because if you can tokenize for cheap, sell, post everything for cheap, then all of a sudden we can do all kinds of stuff that we haven't been able to do on 2 well on Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like shorter time frames. I think there's going to be a lot more staking for shorter time frames. So it's going to bring a lot more like usability, um, to Hex and everything else.
Yeah, no, with Hex we just been held back with the gas fees probably sometime in 2020 because we went from so little to just the gas fees, just a couple pennies to just. I still remember the first time I had to pay over $1 and I was just confused, like my brain couldn't understand.
That's
Like I remember,
hilarious,
like
dude.
I used to put it, I used to keep putting 99 cents, like just lowering it, and
Bro,
like they're like, no, buddy,
Yeah,
no, buddy, give me
I did.
two, give me $3.
I
You
remember
know,
I
paying $175 for a transaction once.
oh, dude, I've had like transactions of like 300 and everything. I had to do a swap of 300 in the middle of 2021 because like I needed that was it. I needed the money and that was the day and I was like it can't be like this. Like I could
I
and
could
it
go
was like
back
a
in time.
Tuesday too. You know how like
I
everyone
wish
will
I could
tell you
go
like,
back
"Oh
in
yeah, just
time and
wait." Uh,
make like 100, Uniswap wallets.
wallets. Yeah, of course.
Get the
Dude, I
uni.
only had
Bro,
one wallet hit. Only one wallet. That's it. Because in that
I had
summer of
3.
that's it. I only had that one seed phrase and it was the one no, it was the one wallet that I used because I remember like the qualifications were really simple. Like basically all you needed to do is just hook up the wallet and you could have a failed transaction and you would still qualify. But
Right.
back then I wasn't doing I think I only had like 5 wallets doing stakes and then all of them was acquired through the adoption amplifier. So some people were going through like desk and some people were going through uni and then I was just going through the adoption 'cause I just thought I was hitting a home run by doing the self referral. Like I just remember thinking, dude, I'm beating inflation every single dollar that I put into this thing. I'm winning. Like that was it. That's all I wanted at that point because it's just all through 2020. All the FUD was like, nah, dude, we're never gonna hit a penny. We're never this. We're never that. And I was like, dude, I don't give a shit. I'm beating inflation. It's like 2%, and then I was making like whatever it was. I don't remember, like the sub referral was like point 30 or something like that, 0.32.
Mm-hmm.
Bro,
So
we're gonna be so blessed. Like just being here right now, like I just try to spread the message of don't underestimate Hex's second bull run because of the fact that we're gonna have so
true.
much reflexivity. Like the gains that people make, they're going to take percentages of those gains and make more Hex stakes. Simple as that. And like
Exactly.
I think we
Exactly.
could outdo the 5x reduction in gains that Bitcoin did in its second bull run compared to its first bull run, which would put us above a 2000x on the next bull run, which could be around $37 if we already saw the low in Hex. That would be 2000x. But I think we can do even better than that. And Richard Hart is actually insinuated, he's hinted that we haven't seen anything yet in price appreciation. And just imagine this. Imagine when Hex reaches $10 and how many people are going to EES and what that's going to do to the
Right.
share rate.
It's gonna
$10
blow up.
hex, yo. How much that cost would that be? Like 500?
It
Shit.
all depends on how close we are to ceiling price. But yeah, it's the volatility so far, like looking at the Hedron chart to the Hex chart, there's more volatility. So I think there is more upside potential in Hedron actually. And I would say the same is going to happen for Icosa. So, we haven't really even seen all the systems in like in even second gear. We've kind of seen it in, well, maybe second gear, but not in third gear, and definitely not in overdrive. And that's going to be a beautiful thing to witness on this next bull market.
Yes, it will. It'll be epic. and smeared that shit in the hater's face. You motherfuckers. All you
Well, I think
motherfuckers. Eat
there's a
this
certain
shit.
amount of vindication that is really healthy, and yeah, it's gonna feel good. I think the thing that is gonna be difficult for all of us is to not get fudded out on the way up, you know? Like
Yep.
just don't sell too early, don't sell too much, as long as you're DCAing out at a healthy rate like you DCA'd in near the bottom, then it's good for you and it's also good for the price chart as far as like the sustainability of the price chart. So, we
Yeah.
have the best liquidity providers in the space, and they're going because of that, that's actually very bullish for the structure of the price chart. As we know, Hex at one point was the fastest appreciating asset in crypto. And I think it's going to do it again.
Yes, it
Here,
will.
here.
Preaching to the
Yeah,
choir.
exactly. Let's focus on limit orders, single-sided pools, and that way we avoid
Yeah,
slippage, we avoid all the bad stuff.
like the education on how to properly sell exactly.
Mango? I missed it. Sorry.
No, just like what ID said, it's like the educating people on how to properly come in and out of positions.
Yeah. Yeah. We've all seen those big whales that don't know what the fuck they're doing and they eat like crazy slippage.
Yep, dude. Double digit, like no one's business. Be like, here you go. Here's 100 grand.
Hey, no, that yeah, what's that? The Hedron too. They don't claim the Hedron. So
It's so painful. That's the times that it's like painful to like see the blockchain, and then when you go in the ether, in the
I
block
love it.
explorer, and
I
then you're like,
love it.
oh,
Bro, I got a story for you. I got a story for you. I was in Rackham Rochelle's like group. This was like maybe 6 months ago, or 4 months ago, and I was telling him about Hedron, and he didn't realize that he could mint Hedron before he unstaked.
oh no.
that's what you
Wow.
get for not listening.
And he probably had some thick ones.
He talks
Yeah,
so
big
much shit
time.
about Hedron, dude, and all this other shit. He always talks shit about it. See, people with money, man, I tell you, people are like, oh yeah, you smart. Like, man, please.
You're right. In fact, I think that's an advantage of being kind of a smaller guy is that you're hungrier, and that hunger will actually compel you to study the system better and to know it better. So that's just kind of like the cycle of money. And that's the greatest thing about Hex is that we have a 15-year limit to our stakes. And so you're never going to have this old money um, energy where it'll always be able to be the big dogs and always be on the top. And that's
But
a beautiful thing.
the thing is about
Yeah.
Rackham, it's that like he didn't know about Hedron. I mean, shit, he was on Twitter with followed down there everybody. Like, well, he actually ignored the Hedron. He actually ignored it.
So it
I,
was it was ignorance.
Yeah, he actually
I,
talked shit about it. It was like, oh, just post chain, post X and Hex. That's it. I don't want to know nothing else. This and that. Like, okay, you mother, okay.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe he wasn't just looking at it when it pumped it. I mean, like you figure that he probably had a bunch of billions of the thing.
Yeah, he probably did. Oh well.
Definitely, definitely a big part. Like, of course we've heard the stories of him and how quickly he, turned into a billionaire or whatever, right? And I think that
Mhm.
it just reminds me of the importance of understanding that money doesn't change us, it just magnifies our life. And so therefore,
Mhm.
we just have to make sure that we're pulling all the weeds out of our garden right now because what little problems we have right now can be big problems when we have a lot of money. So just a good
Good
reminder.
point. Great
Well
point.
said. Definitely great point.
Yeah, I've been focusing on doing that
Personally,
a lot. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I pers-
Yeah, Rich.
I'm personally really ready for a magnifying glass to be put right on my life. Like I got it. I'm setting it all up. Like at the bottom of the bear market, that's just it. We have to arrange ourselves and get our positions because we know when this thing
Yep.
kicks off, how much of a difference it makes when you're in a position early, you know?
Yep. You're
I
right
would
about
like
that.
to add to your comment that what makes me getting into Icosa and understanding how it is, it's also the ambition in my character that takes me there, takes me here to listen you guys, to know identity. I know that I don't have the t-shirts that they have, and I need to start my printing machine also. But we need ambition in our characters, I think, to reach our goals also.
Absolutely. 100%.
Right.
Yep.
Well said.
And
The good
remember,
thing is
don't
like,
retire
yeah,
too early.
true.
Oh no, dude. You still got health insurance. Dude.
Nice thing about new money too is that I think for people that are achieving wealth for the first time in their family that uh we came from humble beginnings, and I think that the ability to turn that money and pivot that into something good, the the desire to do that is greater than with old money, or if you didn't earn it, you know. But yeah,
Right.
we're earning our stripes. We're finding the truth. We're seeking the truth. And I think a big part of that is also realizing we don't know much. Like that's kind of the beginning of all knowledge, right? So I think we're all drawn to learning as much as we possibly can. And fortunately, we have so many amazing, extremely intelligent people in the Hex community that are willing to share. You know, we have Telegram for the first time in like history where we can all come together from different parts of the world and actually like find our tribe and learn from one another. So it's a freaking amazing opportunity, all of it.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it is. It's a great opportunity to be with like-minded people. Great minds think alike.
When I start not seeing none of you, I will start thinking on retirement.
Just prepare and adapt to the changing environment, man, economic environment. Because there's going to be a lot of changes.
Sure,
Just be
most people are
prepared.
gonna get steamrolled. Like they're coming for each and every one of us. Like try not to own anything in your own personal name. Um, try to protect everything in trusts and like Donald Trump has 1,000 trusts for a reason, you know? Like everything that you own that you have a title to should be in its own trust.
Yeah, now that's some wisdom there, definitely.
So I've been, you know what? Now that you mentioned that, Rich, in the last few days, I've been looking into a little bit of that, mostly revocable living trust. How would it work with the stake portion? You know, like I figure, obviously, if I'm liquid, I can fund it that way. But what would I do with my stake? Could I add it somehow?
Are you asking to actually have your crypto wallet contained in that trust or certain types of crypto in a trust? Is that your question?
Yeah, something like that. I guess. Like if I were to pass to have it attached better into like a living trust with my kid and myself as beneficiaries, but then not have it in a will where it could go all public,
Yeah.
it could go into
Okay.
probate, all that mess.
Okay. So as far as, yeah,
Mhm,
that's obviously an advantage of a trust, right?
Awesome.
Those less tax implications if you were to pass, and you can have those written in your hymns. So your
Mhm,
hymns can be considered a will, and basically the hymns are the directions to carry out the trust in
Nice.
the event of whatever. But there
Mhm,
are, there's a lot of different, there's tons of different types of trusts out there. I'm most familiar with personal property trusts,
Gotcha.
where basically, you can open up a trust bank account, and then you can purchase things from that bank account and put them into their own separate, completely private
Trust.
trusts. And that's a really powerful tool right there. But especially, here's another thing: is if you don't
That's awesome.
have an employee, um,
Mhm,
when you file for your fee number and you yourself have done the research and figured out how to, if you have a template basically for a trust, then
mhm.
when you register for that fee number, it asks you whether or not you have any employees. And if you say no, then you're not required to file a tax return. All
Yeah,
sorts of.
I was thinking of going like super, like, maybe like legal zoom or something. I just don't have that much stuff. Like I was just not trying to do anything fancy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I try to keep it as simple as possible as well. So there's just, there's a lot of different ways to skin that cat, so to speak. And like, I don't know where that saying came from, but um, so basically, yeah, it's worth looking into. It's worth educating yourself. And I don't have all the answers. I kind of am specific in just my understanding of a particular type of trust and how to um, basically move in and out of utilize basically move in and out of trusts in a way that uh, keeps things private and protected, and can essentially defer taxes in a legal way.
Right.
So it's like the difference between avoiding and what was the term, and
Evading.
evading.
Avoiding and
Yes, thank you.
evading. Oh yeah, I tell everyone all the time. I was like, there's so many ways to just do legal avoidance, and a lot of people just think that, like what you just said, just think like, oh, you're doing something shady. It's like, no, no, they're
The
there.
the most important aspect of that, like what you could tell them, is just that you literally don't own it anymore. You move it into a trust and you control
Mhm.
that trust. You can be the
Nice.
um the trustee and the
And the
beneficiary. A lot of people don't
beneficiary.
realize that.
Dude, that's what I read the other day. I was like, wait, what? I can put my own stuff and then I can get paid. I was like, that's what's up.
Well
That
worth
was,
looking into that. And there's some good trust courses out there where they're gonna download the real deal for you. In fact, the person who I learned from,
mhm.
he considers himself, you might find this interesting, Mango. He considers himself a free man, even though he knows and he's admitted that technically he's a debt slave. So he considers himself a free man simply because he knows how to navigate in and out of trusts in such a way
Mm,
that gives
mm.
him the freedom, that
Right.
essentially he's acting like a free man, even though technically he's not.
Love it.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Definitely, that's cool.
That's beautiful.
That always kind of like was attractive to me simply because with becoming a state national or a state citizen, that's a little different, better, it seems. I always felt like there was a bit of sticking your neck out, and I just wasn't educated enough. Not that I am fully now, but I have a little bit more of a rest easy feeling knowing that there's different ways to become, um, to control your straw man account, and
Right.
not everyone's doing it the 100% correct way. And so I was like, I was apprehensive to jump into that world. Um, but and especially knowing about how you can use trusts to protect yourself. But now that I know that there's, the different levels of how good you can do it, and hearing about what Cash has shared with us, that's definitely, I'm I believe that mm, there's a high probability that she's doing it right, and that now that I know that, I'm ready to go into something like that, you know.
Yeah, dude, we'll find out. We'll find out starting this week because if I don't fall asleep too early today, I'm going to get my passport photos taken today. Or if I fall asleep too early because I didn't sleep at all today, I'll be going Tuesday to get my photos done and then setting up the appointment in DC.
Be interested in how quickly you're able to do that, because that's definitely my biggest concern. I know a lot of people who have gone through the process that are like still going through the process or haven't achieved kind of like even the most important document, which seems to be the passport, right? That's actually proof that you're such, right? So yeah, I'm rooting for you on the sidelines, 100%, and watching you
Hell
play
yeah.
the game. Because I understand that there's the expedited way of doing it, and that can take a lot less time. But like in the end, how much time will it actually take? Because there's a lot of steps to it, right? Um, so
Yeah,
I'm excited.
there
I'm
is.
really
There is actually a lot of steps. We were talking about it. I'm like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah. My friend who became a state national, which may or may not be as good, showed me a pile of Manila envelopes and receipts for sending registered mail and whatnot. What a great opportunity. It's such an amazing it's an amazing concept, and I really hope that it's everything that I think it might be. Ingo, do you know any by chance, do you know when Alex is going to start streaming? I think a lot of people are kind of wondering that.
No, it's a lot. There's a big anticipation though. He mentioned it a couple weeks ago now, 2 weeks ago now, maybe 3 weeks ago even. Yeah, I don't know.
I did not know that.
Anyone in this room heard any encouraging news as to a date?
I think we would have known by now if it was because it probably would have been posted in there.
Okay.
But like who knows how much time he wants to put into the whole Infura thing for forking Infura and how that's going. Knowing him, it's probably already fucking done because he's smart as shit. But right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I'm just now starting to go through his tweets from today. Uh, and there's a lot to unpack there. I'm like trying to understand it completely, and yeah, it's neat. I'm glad to be taught by a master like Richard Hart. I wish there was a way that we could start a bunch of auctions. Like, I don't know, like it would be great for someone to just go in there and just light up a bunch of them. But is
Yeah.
there any way that we could like create a pool or something? And I know that's kind of a bad word, but like, you know, there's got to be something.
What's that, like over 4,000? There's still like over 4,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
I've been ignoring them because I don't want to burn my Hedron.
I don't even have any Hedron. I staked all my shit. Actually, I swapped it all. Icosa, and I just staked everything.
Got some Hedron stakes coming out that I need to. I'm gonna go have fun making some more wallets.
With that, the Hedron from that, you just gonna let it ride, or are you gonna you're just gonna take the yield, the Icosa yield, and just split those wallets up, and then just keep that the Hedron you have for the stake, just let that ride.
Probably not. I'm probably going all in on Icosa, and I know that's kind of like it's a risky thing to do, but I have a lot of faith in. I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, or even an action to do in crypto, but I really think Mike has kind of cracked the code on at least this short to midterm opportunity in um, you know, uh, Icosa
Yeah,
compounding. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. But I don't think like I think in the end, I think all of the Hex, Hedron, and Icosa, they're all gonna pump together. And I think there'll be less disparity as time goes on. But short time, things may go faster than others. Like maybe short term, it's not a good idea. It won't work out better for me. And maybe in the midterm it will, or vice versa. But I feel
Do
like there's not much risk.
Do you think that Richard Hart might mention anything about a test net tomorrow?
no way,
That's
no way.
a great
Don't hold your breath,
question.
Thomas. Please,
I was
Thomas, don't
thinking
hold
like
your breath. I don't
I
want
was
you to
like
die. I love you.
we probably have a better chance of what's happening in Louis Vuitton for 2023 catalog or something like that.
Oh God, that would be like a dude. That would be like a
Yeah. So
statement. Oh God.
the play
Another
might
question.
actually be to go into stables actually and pick up whatever dip is going to happen after he doesn't announce V3.
What's up, Daniel?
Guys. Yeah, so I wanted to find out, is the only, well, I know there's other purposes for having multiple wallets just for in general with crypto, but as it's particular with um, Hex and Icosa, like, is the only reason for creating multiple wallets, like for staking? I mean, like, I'm trying to understand why can't I just have one wallet and have multiple
Yeah.
stakes?
So basically you would want multiple wallets and break them into smaller pieces simply because the larger your wallet is, the longer your minimum stake length is. And if you have shorter minimum stake lengths, you can take that yield that's accrued in that stake when it's ended and add it to the principal and then restake that whole amount. And then your yield will start earning yield of its own. And so basically it's like compounding. It's compounding the interest.
So
It's like
like,
if you.
I mean,
I
like
was just
if you
saying.
have so much wallets, can't that get too stretched out? Like, I mean, obviously you have your place of storage, like wherever you store your crypto, but like, isn't like I got like 100, wallets for Icosa, but it's like, how can I
Yeah.
keep management of it,
Well. Yeah.
in a
Well.
better way?
That's.
One,
Yeah.
Right.
That's like kind of like a coin you have to toss yourself and decide, do you want to do it or not? Like for me myself, I didn't want to do it. Like for me, the bag that I swapped for, I would have had to have made over 60 wallets in order to create 90-day stakes. So I just did
right.
the 180-day route. So I created a lot less than over 60 wallets to create
10
multiple
times less.
180-day stakes. Yeah,
It must have been 10 times less. So you probably did 6 or 7 wallets. Yeah.
something about that. Yeah.
Because I think it's a factor of
Yeah,
10.
like that's what I would want to shoot for. Like instead of like making 60 wallets, I would want to only make 6 wallets, right?
Yeah,
So
well,
with
that's
the
you have
188
to
stakes,
weigh it
you're
out.
still so with the 180 stakes, you're still, at an advantage to those who have 270-day stakes and 360-day stakes, and you can still, compound your yield after 180 days. So yeah, it just all depends on whether or not you think it's valuable to do anything shorter than 180 days. And yeah, it is a lot of work. And you kind of have to manage how you're going to go about that. Like for myself, like Sunday night's a great
So
time.
these wallets is only dedicated like if you have like Ethereum, what it's Ethereum wallets, right?
And in
Yeah,
MetaMask.
Yeah, like
yeah,
so if you have
it's
like
addressable. Yeah,
yeah, so if you have like 6 Ethereum wallets in your so you're pretty much having yeah, no, I understand. I'm just like trying to wrap my head
Yeah,
around it. Yeah,
sure.
because I only have
You
one
within
MetaMask wallet for all my stuff. Like, so I'm trying to.
yeah,
Is it only? Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So when you make all these Ethereum wallets, obviously you can use it for different things, but you're just dedicating it towards like Icosa or whatever like staking project
correct.
you're doing.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And MetaMask is considered a high hierarchical deterministic wallet, which basically means you can have one key
For
that
multiple wallets. Yeah,
correct.
I have like 2 wallets.
Yeah.
I think I do have 2 wallets on my MetaMask. So and I only have one key phrase or whatever for it. So I get it a little bit, you know.
Yeah, it's good. So basically the way what that means is that it will populate the wallet. Say you lost everything and you had to start over, right? And you just have your seed phrase and you enter your seed phrase. Basically what that means is that it'll bring up that first wallet, but then as you go to populate more wallets, it'll populate the same exact wallets that you had in the same order that you had them. So at first they won't show up and you could freak out because you don't know what the
Right.
fuck's going on. But don't worry, they're there and you just
That's
need to make
I
sure.
think that happened to me. I ended up with 2 wallets inside of the same key phrase. So then I was like, okay, well, I got 2 wallets. It's all inside my main wallet. I mean, it's like a what, like sub wallets. Like
It's so
you have a
like the name suggests, it's called hierarchical. I botched that
right.
name, but it's like hierarchical. So it's like
yeah,
air. It
hierarchical.
has the
Yeah,
word
hierarchical.
air in there. Yeah, it has the word air in there. So basically, they're daughter wallets in a
Yeah, it's like
sense.
hierarchy of wallets. Yeah.
Yeah. So they all spawn the
So you're doing that as opposed to creating new seed phrase wallets. So you're just doing daughter wallets.
exactly. And what I'm doing actually is naming each separate wallet with the date that the stake
Oh.
needs to be ended on. So I
Oh,
can just
okay.
scroll through all of my wallets and really quickly know exactly when I need to do my work.
Right. Yeah, I was overthinking it. So now it makes better sense in terms of MetaMask.
Hey,
Yeah,
Daniel,
yeah.
what do you, it seems like you've been I took a nap. Seems like you're enjoying the community.
Yeah, I noticed you were still there, and I was just like hanging out. But yeah. So I was hearing about the gas fees too. If anybody can weigh in, it's like at certain points, because I've been dealing with the Binance Smart Chain more than I have been with the Ethereum. So every time a project come out on Ethereum, it's kind of like you lose out or whatever because you don't really understand the full concept of how the gas fees work.
So if
So
gas goes
go ahead.
up, here's an easy way that I look at this. If you make all of your stakes into 30-day stakes like an Icosa, dude, you could get totally fucked by gas and not be able to compound very well. So I think 90 days are a lot bit more safer. But like here's one thing. If we start seeing higher gas fees, one of the like possible effects of that is that like the Ethereum, like if Ethereum's getting more clogged, but that also means that Ethereum could start becoming more valuable. And because of Hart's law, like your Icosa could be worth more down the road. So like even though, yeah, you're paying $20 in gas, like it's about the amount of Icosa that you yield. There is no official answer here. All that I think is that I make 180-day stakes, I make 90-day stakes, and once I get money in this week, I'm going to start a very few, but like 10 or 20 30-day stakes and monitor how they work.
So it's pretty much diversifying your stakes and knowing that your profits or the interest will outweigh in the future the cost of gas, so you don't have to
Maybe.
really think about it. Yeah.
Maybe that's a possible scenario. No one knows, but like, right? It's kind of looking like gas fees are going to keep going up. That's what I see. So that's why you have to even be careful with 90-day stakes. But I think with 90-day stakes, the value of compounding with all the additional COSA that you will earn, it will probably, hopefully, likely, I think, maybe, I don't know, be worth the gas fees.
That was a long string of maybes.
Yeah, that was
The cool thing is you can always wait too. Like we wouldn't get penalized like we would in Hex,
Yeah.
so that's a good thing. So if you haven't made your money just yet, then just let it ride, and then
So I want to bring up some new game theory to everybody just to moan over. If you didn't hear, I don't sack for other shit, but I shilled Famous in the chat earlier, and like I'm not getting paid. You can believe me or not, but none of these fucks want to give me money. But like I just talked to Buck and like listening about Famous and what we know about Hart's Law. Solix, even though he's a pastry eating French dumbass, and I think that he's dumb on a lot of things, he's now sacking, and he's also using Famous and staking as a way to build like USDC, to build ammo to buy Icosa. And because like Famous, like in how like everything's I believe is going to work, like you can cash out your money every week and then use that as a mining tool for Icosa. What do you guys think about that? And he was the one who brought it to me. I was like, that actually is a tiny bit based, even though I think he's dumb.
What? Bro, come on.
I love Solix, but he's dumb. Fuck him. oh, Solix. Oh, I didn't see you there.
Solix?
No
What do
worries.
you have to say?
All of these pieces of the game, they all work together. Hex, Icosa, Hedron, Watsas, and now, as remember me telling everybody we need to like be open-minded for like how we want to play the field with new pieces that are being added. I now think like there is like now that piece is here, and I kind of now think it's like, dude, you kind of have to have a little bit in Famous because of how leverage and the payouts of where that like where does the money go for people getting liquidated and fucked through trading because they're bad traders? To the staker class again. And like you can use that as a mining tool to build your Icosa in Hex position.
And Hedron.
Yeah, we all, yeah, sure. Yeah. Dude, if you want to be a Hedron dumper for a living, don't worry. Solix is holding up the fucking price for you, not selling his Hedron. So become Hedron dumpers. Be professional Hedron dumpers. But like I kind of think now I'm looking at the board and there could be like, I'm not getting paid to say this. I'm just really thinking about the game theory. Like Solix brought it to me and it's like, dude, this is like a kind of like a DLC pack for us. Like it's not downloadable content, so it's not free, but like you could, and like with how like markets work and stuff like that, there could be times that Famous like kind of outperforms maybe a little bit. Like the Icosa system gets diluted or whatever, or maybe there's price down. A whole bunch of people are selling and liquidating longs. Well, you're earning those fees. You can put that back in to buy the Icosa dip to have a bigger stake for the next big payout.
That would make that would definitely make the Bears a little more fun.
Dude, like just because it's a bear, like guys, that doesn't mean that people aren't longing and shorting. I have one of those degenerate friends, and all he does is long and short like certain cryptos and stuff, and like he got like liquidated on the Luna on the way down. Like he longed something and it dropped like that money like is taken, and I think Famous might be the longing and shorting platform for Hex. This is now part of the game, I think. I hate saying that, dude, but like it kind of is now.
Here's my 2 cents. Richard ages ago said he would love to be able to have something for the degenerates to short Hex. He thought it was the only way that Hex was really going to rise in price over the long haul. And Famous probably will do that. I sacked a while ago, but I hadn't heard this option before. But it's an interesting concept. And hello, Identity Block. It's been ages.
Hi, Miss Quinn. How you doing? Just been chilling in my
Good to
cave.
hear.
So one thing is that like these sack phases, you can't control how the free market works, but the sack phases are designed for, if you sack for it, the intent is if you happen to get your coin, because remember, no hex expectations, that you would likely get the best price during the sack phase. That I'm not saying that's how they work, but like, that is how they're like kind of designed. I I hate saying it, but it's like, bro, like if this is part of the game, dude, like having having like extra maneuverability through the game
Quinn,
is
Quinn,
nice.
I think your video is open. Is someone the window open on the top there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Quinn, I think you got your video open. It's black, but there you go.
I think I might need to ask other people. What do you think about it? Like, because like it earns yield for staking, and it is a lot of it on Icosa and Hedron. It's like how you play the game. If I play the game better than you because I have more tools at my disposal.
You did.
Yeah.
Well, you just got into Cantillon?
Wait, what?
I said, like, did you just get into Cantillon?
Cantillon. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Like, but like I'm just looking at it from like Famous now being part of the game. I didn't think about that. And Solix was the one who like messaged me about it. And he didn't say that like in those words, but like I'm just now like, dude, this is part of the game. And it might be nice to be earning fees while dumbasses are long and shorting. Yeah. They're longing and shorting and like
Yeah.
Dude,
The people
I wish Yes, I'll-
No, that's fine. Go on, go on.
I was just gonna say as a joke that I wish at 30 cents when I knew we were not gonna go back at the top, I wish that tool was available.
Yeah,
Just
I
short it
agree.
all the way down.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the people who don't understand or don't know about fiat are famous. So I'm sure you know about Aave. Aave, so fiat is the fork of Aave, and famous is a fork of GMX. And I think when I spoke with Buck, if I remember, Aave and GMX don't the user don't earn too much fees or even maybe zero fees. It's like all the Aave and GMX, the people. I mean, let's say the user don't earn fees. So fiat and famous, it's the community earn fees. And if you own fame from famous, you're gonna earn 40% of the fees on the platform. And then there's 60% if you provide liquidity. And Aave, I think fiat on the fees is like, it depends now how much people are gonna borrow and then, but Aave, it's around $160,000 in fees every day. GMX, $170,000 every day in fees. GMX did 120 million, $150 million in fees just in 1 year, and we were in the bear market. So that's mean like if famous become like really famous and gonna earn like just even $100 million in fees every year, it's 40%. So it's gonna be like $40 million in fees that the community, the people who both famous, gonna earn. And fiat will be probably kind of the same. So I think those tools, the people who buy fiat and famous, it's kind of no-brainer. You just buy it, stack it, and forget it. And then that's your goals. That's your principle that you will never touch. You just take the interest. And with the interest, the fees you earn, you don't earn the fees just in USDC. You earn the fees in USDC, Hex, Ethereum, Wrap Bitcoin, PLS, PLSX, Hedron, Icosa. And you can claim every day. You can claim 2 times a day, 3 times a day. It doesn't matter. And your stack, you never touch it. So you just take the egg, and then whatever you can do whatever you want with the interest. You like X, stack X. You like Icosa, Hedron, doesn't matter. You just stack it. So you can recompound your stack on Icosa and Hedron or create a new wallet. So the strategy from Godmike, like it's really nice. The recompound, the squid. If you the best rank now, it's squid, because the bonus doesn't exist anymore. You don't have anymore the 20% bonus if you're a whale or 15% if you're a shark. So the game just changed. Now it's better to be a squid and recompound every 90 days because the inflation is really, really high. And maybe I believe in the future when the supply in the pool, in the Icosa pool, will be higher, or the liquid Icosa will be higher over time. So instead of stacking 200 Icosa, you can be a squid, but I believe maybe the next cycle in 90 days or before than this, it could be like 3 million or 4 million liquid Icosa. So you could maybe stack 400 Icosa and still be a squid. And then you recompound every 90 days. So maybe, at the end of 2023, you could be like a turtle and stack for maybe 200, 400 Icosa and be a turtle. So instead of recompound every 90 days, you will be able to recompound every 30 days. So the people who don't use this strategy and the inflation is still high, they're gonna lose. Shark, whales, dolphin, they're gonna lose. So you are even I'm using the same word like Mike. It's about point, not the amount of Icosa. If you see
Correct.
you can increase your M point or your T point or P point, that's the goal. So if you see after 30 days or 90 days, you can recompound and you're going to earn more. If you use your principal and yield, do it, you know. And with fiat and famous now, I mean, it's like a compound under compound, you know, you recompound even more, you know. So I did like a easy math, you know, like let's say you have 10 wallet, you create 10 wallet Icosa. I'm just going to speak with Icosa and not Hedron. It's another game, let's say. But if you start with 10 wallet and every 90 days you recompound, it's kind of double now. Like every 90 days with the inflation we have, it's like if you have 200 Icosa in 90 days, your yield will be around 200. So every 90 days, so you're gonna have 10 stack. After 90 days, 20. After 90 days, 40. So at the end of the year, you're gonna have kind of 160. You will be able to have 160 wallet. You don't have to do that, I mean, but it's just to see the picture. If you use fiat, if you buy some fiat and famous, or you sacrifice famous, and you have some so you have some skin in the game in the famous and fiat, and let's say, you know, it depends how much you sacrifice, how much you buy, but and how much the fees will be, but over time, you know, maybe a person used the strategy of Mike 160 wallet after 1 year. Someone using the famous and fiat, he could have like maybe at the end 200 250 maybe 300 wallets, you know. But I mean, this is in the future, maybe 300 wallet. I mean, it's too much, maybe, you know, for some people. But what I'm saying is, you can build after maybe a shark, you know, shark stack, or maybe dolphin stack in Icosa or Hedron. So you're gonna earn even more, and you're gonna, like I said, the shark, dolphin, and whales, let's say, they don't use those strategy, or they don't use famous, or they don't recompound for the first 1 year or two, then they're gonna die. Or not dying, but they're gonna be like a shark can be a dolphin, and the dolphin then come back to maybe a squid. So yeah, the first year and 2 years is the most important. Yeah, and one more thing as well. Like I said, the first year, maybe two, is the thinking about accumulation, you know, not price. So the best is to focus on accumulation now, because maybe you earn, let's say, 10 Icosa per day or 20 Icosa per day. But in 5 years, 10 years, maybe you're not going to earn this, you know, even if you still accumulate and recompound every 90 days or 30 days in the future. But it's to focus that, you know, like in 5 years, maybe 6 years or less or more, is to know that you're going to earn maybe just 1 Icosa or 2 Icosa if you use this strategy. If you don't use this strategy to recompound, you're going to earn maybe just 0.2 or 0.5 Icosa, you know, in 5 years. So it's to secure your 1 or 2 Icosa per day that you're going to earn in 5 years. And maybe, you know, in 5 years, it's going to be like what, $100, $50, or Icosa, even more, I don't know, but
That'd be nice.
I mean, it's kind of easy math, you know. If you really believe Icosa will be at the selling price of all the time, like the first, I think it was the first 3 months, Icosa was great, you know, like it was at the selling price all the time for the first 3 months. So I believe more the liquidity will be thicker and thicker and bigger. I mean, it will be harder to move the price if the LPs play the good game, and put like the liquidity in the selling price of Icosa will be great. So over time, if it's thicker and thicker, you will be able to sell maybe $1 million, and maybe with a slippage of 3%, 5%. So the selling price can stick, can stay at the same all the time and not too much down and not too much high. What's like Hex? I mean, a lot of people believe like Hex are $1, even more, but even just $1, it's what, like, let's say 40 times now, 40 times. And if Icosa go to the selling price 40 times, how much is it? I think it's 80 cents now, the selling price. And $1 Hex. So it's gonna be like kind of $30 to $35, from the T-share we speak now, Every time the T-share go up, the selling price of Icosa goes up. So at the moment, it's going to be like $30, for Icosa. But the people who and the people who doesn't know, like maybe some new people are here, and you really believe the Icosa selling price will stay in the future and not going too down like now. I think it's like 30 or 40% down. But Hex can stay at $1 forever. Let's say Hex stay at $1 forever. The Icosa selling price and even the Hedron selling price will always goes up every day, just increase. So if the T-share is like, I had the picture, I can put it again in the chat, but the T-share was like, just 1 minute.
At what point?
Oh, what happened? Yeah, so I mean, I put a chart like even if Hex stay at $1, and you can see like in 2030, it's on the T-share will be around 100,000. So meaning like the Icosa will be at $550, even if Hex stay at $1. So that's insane. So it doesn't matter if Hex doesn't move.
Yeah, I did a visual once, and once we hit like 35,000 units, but if we're at like $30, it'll be like $1 million T-shirt. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, and I believe the Icosa Hedron can help to increase the share rate. I mean, it's like a kind of no-brainer. You can recycle or sell. I mean, there's no more point now to do less than 5555. Like HSI 555. I mean, the end game, like, I mean, the people who really like know the end game. It's like, yeah, I mean, Hex can go to one because of Icosa and Hedron with the HSI, and you can sell it whatever you want. I mean, and just do 5555. I mean, it's like Hex can go now at any price.
Exactly.
That's insane.
The Democrats are chasing me. They're trying to stop me from giving out the best game theory. Run, boys. I'm just kidding. My internet cut out.
Here, I'm gonna share with you guys one of the visuals I made one time. I'm gonna do it like 50 cents. 50 cents at 20,000, $7 at 30,000 units, and $36 at 35,000 units. and it's a good visual to follow.
But I want to be careful with the language I use, but like I kind of feel like I'm forced to like kind of sack for famous. Remember, like this last bull run, like a lot of it started because of the new techs that came up. You had Uniswap, you had Hex, but like Solix mentioned like Aave, which is a lending platform for people who don't know. Like you can take out loans against your own crypto, and it's like its own form of leverage. Like that's what really starts the bull market. Like is all the leverage. People willing to lend others money for uh, a yield in USDC that is like secured by code, and it's not a central entity, so it's DeFi. It's like FTX was on that like a leverage platform, but it was centralized. This is DeFi. This stuff's already existed for a while with Aave and everything. This is what kicked off the bull run.
Right.
I think this is part of the game. And this is a mining, like I use my hex stakes as a mining tool for more Hedron so that I can
Nice.
sell it to buy more
Exactly.
Icosa.
That's awesome. That's what I did the last like 3 months. Like I kept hearing everyone just, oh yeah, let's wait for the auctions, and I was like, well, why not? Hex is going down. At that point, it was at 3 cents. So I was like, why not just buy the hex and lock it for 15 years, and then you get Hedron for 3 months. And now I don't want to burn the Hedron. The original idea was just to have more Hedron to burn it into the HSIs, and now I'm kind of holding it. Just maybe I'll get a better deal, or maybe Hedron pumps. But I feel that by holding, I have a few more options. Maybe we get a fork and then it just gets copied. But
And remember, people might start longing and shorting on both chains. And when you sack, because we're here in the bear market, I've always had the opinion the most important things always happen in the bear market because everybody leaves and they're like, oh, number down, grr. But like, this is where the
True.
devs like pop out the most shit. And
Hey,
like, oh, sorry.
do you imagine a short squeeze like a GameStop? Is it this GameStop, but for Hex? So many people just try to short, and then the Hexagon just long, and there's a short squeeze, and just do like a, I don't know, 10, 20, 30x just because of that. That could be insane.
I think that famous is part of the game, dude. Like I'm not getting paid to say that. Like when you really look at it and you're looking for tools to receive more ammo so that you don't have to put more money in later. If
That's
you
the
want
thing.
to like just have machines to make like that you can use to grow your position without doing
right,
anything, that's like half the reason we're all fucking here. I want to like buy something and then just make money all day. That's
right,
Yeah,
dope.
for sure. It's like first, yeah, of course, we need those tools, borrow and lending and short and long. We need. That's the basic for financial tools. Like we need those tools. It's like it's you cannot we cannot think twice about that. It's like we have to have those tools. But the
right,
thing is, because if it's famous and fiat's decentralized, so like I say, it's the community own the token. So the community own the share of the let's say of the business, if you want, or the company. So we're gonna earn those fee, for us, not the centralized, not the CEO or whatever, like see like I mean, we can see like fiat and famous like Binance, let's say, or other big exchange like this, let's say. And instead of giving all the fees from the founder, it's gonna be for us, you know. So, like I said, you know, even AV, I think it's 800 million market cap and 400 million market cap GMX. We are in the bear market. What do you think is gonna happen in the bull market? That's crazy, man. It's like free kind of you're gonna be your own bank, let's say, your own. Yeah. Anyway, it's like a no-brainer.
And now you have a way to mine Hedron. You have a way to mine Icosa. Now you have a way to mine USDC. And here's one thing to keep in mind, guys. This is why I'm like really excited. You know, once again, I talked to the guy. But like he really alluded to like, dude, we'll accept USDC. But like we want Hex, Hedron, and Icosa. They're like, that's what we want. Like, you know, they're like, they don't care really about USDC. And I found that interesting. It's just like, like, it was like, wait, you don't want USDC? Or like, they'll still take it, but they're like, no, man, we want Hex, Hedron, and Icosa for the benefit of the price. It was like, the more I'm like moaning over it, the more it kind of feels justified. And I still haven't gotten banned from chat. I'm not a mod or anything. So like, there's always flies on the wall everywhere. But like, I think we would have already been in trouble. But like, I'm going to use this as a mining tool for my Icosa position. Like, does it beat compounding 90-day stakes? I don't know. If we go down to 20 cents later down the road, I'll at least have those, all that famous and fiat working for me, making fees in USDC.
And the fees is gonna be easy to calculate. Let's say even 100% of the famous and fiat is stack, let's say. And so first there is 55 million token in fiat and 55 million in famous. So right away there is no inflation or whatever, or no burn. It's just like 55 million. So I mean, depending on how much how much amount you have in famous or fiat, then you're gonna know like your percentage, how much you're gonna earn. Let's say you have 0.1%, or 0.01% of the famous token, and then you will know like kind of how much fees you're gonna earn. Doesn't know like you will maybe not know like if it's gonna be like USDC, Hex is depend. If people use famous and they just leverage more like Hex and PLS, then you're gonna earn more fees in PLS and Hex. But let's say you have 0.01% and the fees is like I don't know, $2-3 million, in fees every month. Then you're gonna know like how much you're gonna earn, every month. And you don't, I mean, the thing is you can you can claim every day, or every 2 days. So maybe, you're gonna earn maybe just $100-$200 per month. But what happens when the bull market is gonna start? Maybe it's gonna be $2,000, $3,000, and in the future maybe $10,000. Remember, you are part of the exchange. You have the share of the exchange. So I mean, it could be like $10,000 a month just by doing nothing, just having the share of the share of the exchange. Look at Binance and Coinbase and all those leverage websites. How much fees they make? That's insane. But this is gonna be for you, not for them.
And remember, like, it's kind of funny. Like, do you guys see some of this emotion all going around? like people, oh, Richard with his big BP license plate, or like just like scammer, like everyone's going super nuts and like just doing the craziest, stupidest shit you've ever seen. And it's just like this emotion makes them either want to buy Hex later or short it. Like it's almost like this like the how do I want to put it? Like the outrage marketing has its initial effects. Like, like look, Richard's growing in Twitter in a bear market, 95% down. We're getting more stakers. The stake length's going longer. But like think of the outrage effects down the road. Like when I tell people about Hex, it's planting a seed. I tell everybody, I'm like, dude, there ain't anything better than fucking Hex, baby. And now with Icosa, oh, the short game's so fun. But like it's this is planting seeds. People would rather buy at $1 than at 2 cents. And they might start longing and shorting at certain times. And the way that liquidity providing works and stuff, I see a world where if enough haters start shorting, boom, there goes their entire portfolio because they thought they were smart shorting Hex at $2. Go back to some of Richard's old videos, guys. Like I've watched every single Richard video. If you haven't watched every single Richard video, I'm actually thinking what's wrong with you? But like I know everyone doesn't have the time that I do. But like he talks about like short squeezing people and how glorious it'll be. And remember, like you use this as a hedge on your portfolio. Dylan did a trade and he made profit shorting. It wasn't like he went like super crazy, risk management with your portfolio. But even though you like me, I don't trade. And I'm not sure if anybody else here is like that. Like I don't really trade in Fibonacci and all these trading terms and stuff. But like that doesn't mean that the tools of it aren't useful. And like this longing, shorting, getting a percentage of that market, man, that really gives us an edge, I think. And it seems like I don't know anything for sure. I just tell what I see and what I feel. But a lot of times it's like, who cares what you fucking feel, you fucking idiot? It's about facts. But it's like, seems like there's some good holders of Famous. The token of Famous can go up in price, plus you're earning yield. And you can earn it in USDC and then just like go buy Hex or buy, you think there's a Watsa for cheap, you think, whatever. I think this is an additional mining tool and an additional money printer in a sense. That's why like all these guys like fucking own a ton of Apple, or like, I don't know about Apple in particular, but like, they do have dividends for those stocks. They hold them because they just keep earning money.
What are you guys thoughts on regulators, at least in the US? Like, do you guys think that they'll start messing with these kind of platforms, lending platforms, leverage platforms, even on DeFi?
I think I have a pretty decent look on it. I'm not going to speak for the government. I'm just going to see how I feel about it. Aave's a thing, and
Right.
Aave is still allowed to operate. They didn't go after that. We did have a new Speaker of the House come in. Let's see what they do. Like, it doesn't seem like it. One of the bipartisan issues, in my opinion, is good regulation on crypto, about doing it right. There are people with good opinions and bad opinions, but they have been it. Dude, I'll be real. Dude, with the amount of actual scams and centralized exchanges stealing everybody's money, They should pass regulation on the centralized guys. DeFi has hacks. We all know the risks with all this shit. We all know.
Right.
But like,
Yeah.
it seems they're leaving the DeFi alone.
The
Kind
thing
of.
is, like, technically, then if what I mean, what you're saying, I agree with 100%. And technically, then what they need to do is just sit on their hands and do nothing, because what they approve in November of 21 with the infrastructure bill, like that regulates the exchanges. They're going to become brokers. They're going to have all the paperwork, all the AML, all the KYC, all the suspicious activity reports. They're going to need to have everything for them to comply. So technically, I mean, I know that they're yelling that they need all these regulation, but technically they already approved it. It's just they said we don't start till January of 2024. So I mean, what they need to do is just either enforce what they already approve. So say, all right, well, we're gonna start enforcing it 6 months early. We're gonna start in July 1st of 2023, or I don't know. It's just what they need to do is just that, because if they do that, DeFi would continue to work as it's been. We still have to go through their off ramps. We still have to jump through their hoops, but centralized exchanges are going to have to be more transparent.
Well,
but
let's see if they actually do that. Who knows? But like, you know, when it comes to regulation, I mean, doesn't it seem like a pretty fair view where it's like, it's really the CFI, the centralized finance, and the exchanges that need the regulation. It's not, they're not screaming
True.
DeFi regulation. They're screaming regulation for the centralized authority or the centralized entities that have stolen all their money. There isn't been
True.
any like publicity about DeFi.
True. In fact,
I hope so, brother. I hope so.
the commissioner of the SEC, that ladyish looking person, she yeah, she spoke in particular. It was like one of the most bullish things I've seen recently. About 3 weeks ago, she was being interviewed and definitely made that point that the only regulation that is needed are for um, centralized exchanges, and that decentralized exchanges and decentralized crypto doesn't need regulations because of the way it functions.
Yeah, but what if, like, okay, let's say they never touch DeFi because, I don't know, let's say they can't use it, but they just control the off ramp and on ramp, you know, like I think they did in Australia. You need have a good score, what is it, a social score, something like this, to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum. If you don't have a
I
good
heard
social
about
score,
that.
yeah, but let's say even if they do that, like in most country, so it's kind of controlling like the DeFi and everything. You cannot go in the crypto
Right.
ecosystem if you don't have enough score, you know. So in the same time, they are kind of controlling the DeFi, you know. Or if you, even if you go out, you know, let's say even if, okay, you can go and buy crypto, your score is fine, but during your crypto and whatever, your score just going down, and you cannot cash out because your score is going down.
That's what I started thinking whenever they did this thing with Tornado Cash a couple months ago. This guy's still arrested while SBF is hanging out.
So I
And
want to chime in on that
yeah, yeah,
real quick.
of course.
That's
This is just
important. Oh, sorry.
yeah, buddy.
So I want to make sure that we're once again looking at this in a based view. Remember, with Tornado Cash, I know I don't like them going after them, and that guy being in jail. But let's take a step back and be like, is there a reason why, out of all the DApps, that it was Tornado Cash that's being like heavily investigated? Well, I want to make an argument because I think they added Tornado Cash. I don't use it. I've never gone to the web or haven't gone to the website since the original days of launch, and I had never used it. But like, can't you make USDC private through Tornado Cash, that's the reason they're investigating it. Because they found a way to privatize the US dollar. And remember, USDC is through Coinbase, but it's audited through the government. Because like USDC does have admin keys, guys. It's not DAI.
They do. No,
So,
they do. They have master keys. And plus Circle wants to be part of the Fed too. They've applied to become like charter with the Fed. So they pretty much are. They're like part of the Fed. I agree. The thing is, I mean, I agree. It's just, I guess my issue is just here in the States. Like, I don't know if you guys are outside of the States, so you guys could ignore everything that I'm saying, and all these tools are gonna work so perfect. It's just the regulators and the politicians. They just say all these dumb stuff, and then I overthink stuff.
what have their actions been? When, like, Joe Biden was put in as president mid bull run, and one of his first acts was putting the former Coinbase lawyer in a head of regulation. And we really haven't, it's been, about a year or a year and a half. It's been getting towards 2 years now. God, dude, life passes by fast when you get older.
Yeah, no, it's going.
But like, it's been 2 years, and they passed a bill, I believe, and that banks are allowed to start buying, holding, and selling cryptocurrencies for their customers. Like the banks are coming in, bro. Like,
Yeah, no, they
regulation
started doing
goes
that
both
in
ways.
they did that in June of 2020. They did that with Brian Brooks. Because whenever Mnuchin and Trump, they brought in Brian Brooks he was from Coinbase too. And that's when I started debating that the CBDC has already been launched because technically they gave the banks zero reserve requirements for. I'm not sure if that it's been reestablished or that continued, but they remove reserve requirements in March of 2020, and then in June of 2020 they said, "All right, well now banks could do crypto custody." So they made it seem that way, like it was just to do custody for their clients. But then I've never seen a bank manage crypto for their customers. So you know that in the last 2.5 years, all they've been doing is just swapping themselves.
Right. They're not, remember, this is a big undertaking. Like, remember, banks are still using bank wires. Like, it might take them a little bit, just because they passed the law
That's true.
doesn't mean that they're fully utilizing it. And we all know these
Right.
banks are all fucking rubbing elbows and being like, okay, you guys ready for the next fucking bull run? Let's call it fucking garbage and make bullshit fucking calls by the bottom, and then we'll chill and then start selling
We're gonna
crypto to
pump it.
everybody.
That's true.
We're gonna pump it.
That's true.
But like, the government's building programs on top of Ethereum. Like that's what they're using is like their, like, they might make their own layer one. We don't know, but like that's where they're doing a lot of their testing, and it'll probably be a fork of Ethereum. If they did like it, you might as well not try to reinvent the wheel, and just
True.
if you do, but like the cat's out of the bag, bro. Like
That's true.
the time to worry about regulation was like 5 years ago. To be
That's
honest.
true, dude. I've been saying that shit for so long. Like, especially the first time I saw the tax regulation they started in 2014. And I would tell everyone, I was like, this is just so random, guys. Like, they're making already, like, they already started screwing up when they called it a property. So I agree with you 100%. I'm telling you, this
And
thing with the
remember,
CBDC, I've been saying it for 2 years. I've been saying, guys, if a bank can control cryptocurrency at zero reserve requirement, that's a CBDC. Because if nobody's going to the Fed to protest and burn down the place, that means that people accepted it. It's like a stable coin with no backing, no reserves, no gold, nothing. It's just they can print as much as they want. They can
let's
manipulate
avoid
it.
topics like that, as I'm just
Yeah, I
here to
hear you. I
talk
hear
about
you. I
the
hear
crypto side.
you.
Like,
I hear you.
I'm not here to start bullshit, but
I
like
hear you, brother.
But like, guys, like, this fear of SEC and regulation, bro, there there are a lot of things that actually do kind of need it. Look at what just happened this last bull run with all the centralized exchanges. And now I want to address IDB here. In the case of like, could the sacrifice phases be something that gets looked at? I think that yes, it could get looked at, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. It could be, but it might not be. And one thing that I've learned as a business owner is that disclaimers, warranties, paperwork, a delivery of sale paperwork, words in the legal system really matter. And I think that all of them were worded very specifically. Like, bitch, if you put money here, you might not get fucking shit. You should just assume that you're gonna get all your money fucking stolen from you, you dumb bitch. But maybe you get blessed with these coins.
Right.
And
Agreed.
that's a disclaimer, bro. And there's a reason there's a Howey test. I'm not a lawyer, but I've talked to a lot of people, and it seems like there is more than a fair legal standing that sacrifices would not be considered securities. And that's what the government it's the securities laws that are really
That's the
important.
thing. It's like my concern more, I guess, in the States would be that they pass um, some type of regulation where they do the same thing that they're doing with Tornado, where sure they allow the coins, so they do have value if I'm in Canada or in Mexico or anywhere else. But if it's just I guess I'm trying to visualize. I don't know if you were around for when they started the conversation for the bit license in 2013 and 2014, and then all the shit fuckery that's happened in the last 7 years since, where it's almost like if you go into New York, you can't do anything, and outside you can do all this stuff. And then I'm thinking that some of these politicians that they might try to do some type of Fed bit license, which they're gonna think it's so great, but then all the business has to go outside. So I mean, sure, we could have all the coins in our bag and they have value and everything, but then the government tells me, here, you can't go to Tornado Cash website. And so yeah, I guess I'm more concerned with dumb politicians with too much power.
But once again, dude, okay, they found a way to privatize money. That's a little bit
True.
different than people making a DeFi platform for banking.
Gotcha. No, I love it, dude. I love it. I love it. I mean, this is what I got into crypto for. So I love it. I mean, in a perfect world, I would like no new laws pass on this until this guy SBF is either Epstein or declared guilty. You know, because I think too much money was lined up into politicians' pockets, and now all of a sudden they're all like trying to come up with in their in their horses like the night to save the day. Like, oh yeah, I got this law here that I just like I had it here from like 2 years ago, and then you're like, well, who paid you? Like, who's benefiting? And I think all these politicians that they had passed bills, proposals in the last 12
It's just like
months.
worrying about something that doesn't matter. If they wanted to
Yeah, that's true. That's
out-regulate
true.
crypto out of existence, they would have done it sometime over the last 14, or was it 15
Yeah, that's
years?
true. That's true.
It's been 15 years, guys. Or I double check on. I'm getting old. I don't know. Is it 14?
Yeah, 14,
But
14,
bro, it's
14.
been 14 fucking years. They could have regulated it out any time, but they want to make
Yeah,
good
that's true.
regulation.
That's true.
This is so important. Like regulating, or I'm sorry, revolutionizing banking services adds value to an economy. If one economy has more value than another, that that this is like how the power system, like between China and fucking like United States government, like they want that every technological advancement, whether it's in finance, whether it's in medicine, they want it to happen in their country because that helps the GDP. It makes that particular country stronger, and that's why. Guess what? You're allowed to go buy some Bitcoin. Yeah, that's why you're allowed to go buy some Bitcoin today, because like there's a really good chance that something in this industry revolutionizes all of finance.
But then what do you think is going to happen then January 1st of 24? Then centralized exchanges become brokers. So there's not going to be not everyone's going to have $1 million to become a, accredited investor, qualified investor.
You're not an accredited investor now.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what they voted on. Like they passed that the sent all these exchanges, FTX when it comes back, and Gemini if it doesn't crash, and Coinbase, they're all going to be brokers. So I mean, it's either they're going to make us all, they're going to grandfather us in, and then whoever has crypto then now can deal in these brokers, or then what are they going to do?
They can't just allow a publicly traded company to stop operating like that. Like there are accredited investors in the stock market investing in Coinbase and stuff like that. Like, yeah, the stock's down, but that's because they're dumping it, dude. Yeah, I dump Coinbase stock too. But like, there's very likely a time where that starts to come back. But like,
Right.
dude, like they pass laws and stuff like that, and we have to take it with the punches. If you worry about all the retarded shit all the time or think about the parade of imaginary horribles, you don't have time to focus on what's important. If there's something important, bro, I'm down for talking about it. But like, they're not, dude. The world is going to
law.
continue
It's a law. No, but I understand, but it's just I understand this. There's plan regulation that they're talking about and this and that. But what I'm talking about is past law. This was approved since November of 21. It's just it hasn't been implemented till January of 24. So the law says that all these exchanges that are going to declare bankruptcy between now and the end of the year, because they will, is the government is just giving them a license to wreck everyone, because they have all these user agreements that say your money's my money, and then a judge already approved Mashinsky to getting his money. So then Bankman Fried is going to get his money, and then when they crash Gemini, the Winklevoss are going to get them, and Silver is going to get his. So they're all going to get users' money, and then they're going to get to reorganize, and then they become brokers. So that's the thing. That's not a
and why does that affect my Hex portfolio?
No, I mean, like, it doesn't affect us. I mean, I agree, it doesn't affect us, but it's just
Does that affect my on-ramping of me taking
on ramp.
on and
There you
off
go,
money?
on ramping. There you go. That would be it. In reality, for us, that would be it. So I mean, it's just as far as getting gas. It's all that it would affect us. But
sounds like something not even to think about. And remember, most people who join this chat,
No.
we do have a lot of advanced users, but don't bring up stupid stuff to the new people, because it doesn't
No,
matter.
I
If
hear
it
you,
was
I
something
hear
to
you, I
talk
hear
about,
you,
we would
I
be
hear you.
talking about it.
I hear
But
you.
we have new people, and it's like this shit. I've been doing this for fucking 5-6 years, and I do this a lot, like especially recently a lot. I love crypto and like all of the stuff that's happening with all the markets, but it's like this stuff is overwhelmingly confusing. None of that shit is
Oh, I
actually
hear you.
important.
Yeah,
We need to
yeah,
focus
I hear
people
you.
on just learning that Hex isn't a scam, and staking your coins and earning yield is like the future.
No, I agree.
I hear you. Like, I used to worry about those things, bro. It's just like so yesterday. And once again, like, I'll be fair. Like, if there was one thing that the government like probably needed to look at, it might have been Tornado Cash. I'm not going to sit here and fight that to the death, but like, don't you see why they might be looking into it? Like, it's a pretty, like, they got, I mean, I really wish they were looking a little bit harder into fucking, like, you know, the FTX thing, but like,
Yeah, but this is what they do. Like, I mean, knowing government, what they do is they approve something that makes absolutely no fucking sense, right? In the sense that they approved a crypto bill and an infrastructure bill that was dedicated for roads and bridges and all that stuff, right? So now they keep telling everyone we need regulation, we need regulation. So what they can do now is, since this is already law, they can go in, send this people that had this funky bills proposals, and they can go into this past law
but
and they
I'll
can
be fucking
amend the
real.
law and
I
add all
really,
this stuff.
like, this stuff is so unimportant. And if you want to talk about it, that's fine. But I don't think you're adding value to the new people by talking about it, because you'd be like, oh, this is what they're going to do. Bro, it's been
They
14
already
years.
did it.
We're
They
all
already
still
did
here.
it, Mike. They already did it though. You keep saying it like this is this is a proposal. This is an approved law that says that every single dollar that you're going to bring in over $600, you're going to have to report it. You're going to have to ask everyone here in this chat. So right now, if you're going to transfer $601, you're going to have to ask for people's money, and you're going to have to ask for people's IDs, social security numbers, and address. This is not a parade of imaginary like what you're saying. This is already approved. It's just it's not been launched because it's not January 1st of 2024. So I agree. Like I understand what you're saying, but saying it, let's not talk about it because blah blah blah. Like I mean, it's just it's at one point where it's going to be January 1st, and then we're going to have to deal with it because every single dollar that we bring in is going to have to go through the brokers.
Yo, he just dropped out the chat, I think. But I understand what you're saying. I understand what he's saying about the new people that wants just to learn about Icosa and the fact that it's in
Sure,
DeFi
let's talk
and the
about
fact that
Icosa.
it's not. No. But I do understand where you're coming from. I think where regulation comes in is where the people wants it. It's like, imagine if everybody said, you know what, let's ignore FTX, let's ignore Sam Friedman, and he just whatever. Like, we understand our risk that we take in crypto, so hey, we shouldn't keep our money on exchange anyway. Like, if they had that approach and say, who cares, like. But because it's what the people want, that's why regulation comes. So is people want
The thing is that
regulation for the.
when I started having these conversations more than 10 years ago, the idea was we're going to run our own networks. We're going to verify our own transactions. We're going to have our own crypto.
Yeah,
And now
no. I completely understand
we
that.
just
Look.
we don't have crypto anymore. It's just
No,
we
no, no.
don't.
I get that, and I think that's where it's more on the macro level. It's like we don't have our own Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoin has to be processed through a certain means, like a certain measure. So it's the same thing. Like, Ethereum comes along and then it docks itself and say, "Oh, I'm, what's his name? Veteran. I'm butchering his name." But like the owner, he docks himself, and that's the issue with Bitcoin. That's what the issue with crypto already. It's from, like, if Bitcoin is coming out and saying, "Look, we're going to be doxxed," Satoshi Nakamoto, we're going to be doxxed. So then every other altcoin comes out and say, we're not going to be doxxed. Is what gave the government opportunity. You feel me? Because you said, "Oh, we're going to, plant our company over here. We're part of this part of America. We're a part of that part of America." And then every other company try to say, "Oh, we're offshore." So it makes it confusing when people want, like, that security. So it's like, well, Bitcoin gave us this form of security. It's like, well, we don't know, don't hurt us. You feel me? It's like, it could hurt us, but it's like, because we don't know who the owner, quote unquote, is of Bitcoin, is maybe it should have stayed like that the whole time for every other crypto that came out. You feel me? So now that there is everyone doxing, you feel me? It's like the people that don't dox, like in degen world, it's like, you should dox because everybody else doxed since Ethereum. You feel me? But Bitcoin yet remains undoxed. So that's why it's harder to control Bitcoin. But at the same time, people still use Bitcoin in America and outside America because they're not doxed. So who is it? Let's run after them. But what I'm saying is, when things happen like FTX, people want regulation because they want their money, even though they was told not to put your money on an exchange. Don't hold your money on an exchange. Yep, they still put their money on an exchange and lose their money, and they get mad when they already was told the disclaimers. So I believe that, yes, if people find out X, Y, Z, not necessarily Hex, not necessarily Icosa, not necessarily Hedron and the future of Pulse Chain, or even Richard Hart, because he's doxed. Why would you want to, why would you want to scheme anyway when you done doxed yourself? When you say, this is my place of business, this is my location. How are you going to do that in such a self-fulfilling? That's what Sam Freeman did. He set himself a failure. He lied to everybody, and he's supposed to say, everybody, let's come after him. So I don't have nothing to hide. So I think somebody asked earlier, you shouldn't, expose yourself and dox yourself. Like, who cares? Like, I'm not no owner of a Bitcoin, Bitcoin exchange or any crypto exchange. So I think regulation comes where people want it, and where like if people want regulation in another country, the other country gonna ban the crypto.
Well,
if
but what
you get what I'm
you
saying?
guys are not what you guys are not thinking is this is already approved. So if you don't have $1 million sitting waiting, you might not be able to invest in crypto if you're in the
Oh
United
no, I
States.
completely understand what you're saying. So, but like how you said, where you were thinking like 5 years ago, when Bitcoin like first came out, you had this idea that we will own all of our things. So we give up our ownership by wanting to chase down the scammers. So we say, oh, the scammers in centralized exchange, the scammers is in DeFi world. Let's go after them. Government, why are you not doing anything? I lost my money, but do you know what you signed up for? You signed up for a risk. So if you signed up for that risk because the Bitcoin, is not doxed, who knows about Satoshi Nakamoto? Is it Elon Musk? Is it, a president? Who is, it's better that we don't know, because that's what we signed up for. So what I'm saying is now we want to know all of it. We want to know all the degen, devs. Who's the dev? Where the dev at? What's going? Well, sorry, you signed up for that risk. You feel me? With the opportunity that you can make a lot of money. You feel me? Because we understand it's a new technology. So that's what we signed up for 15 years ago. But we either can choose to embrace regulation or push back regulation. It's up to the people. That's really what the situation is. So I came in and I found this project because I already know the risks. I already know the disclaimers. I've been here forever. You feel me? My name is here. Like, nobody's going to inbox me and scam me, because I'm not going to expose myself to that. So that, I get what you're saying, and I get what the other guy was saying. He just wanted to protect people that are in the chat or in the community that's new, like myself. Even though I'm experienced, I already know how to hold my ground, but it's the risk that everybody runs. So if something go down with Icosa, with Alex, oh my God, that's what everybody's going to do. It's the honest, that's the risk. But because everybody trusts him and understand that he's like legit, so that's why Richard Hart will be like, whoever calls me whatever, I don't care, because he owns his ground. And I think that's where it comes, is what people want. If people want regulation, more regulation going to happen. If people don't care, the government ain't going to care. You feel me? I think
No, I
that's
mean,
what it
like
is.
what I'm talking about has nothing to do with DeFi though. It's all has to do with centralized exchanges. And then, I mean, the thing is, if we could not on ramp, we could not, because
We can't get into the DeFi world.
exactly. I guess that's my whole concern. Because I mean, like I said, I mean, like there's a chance that all this stuff that I've been talking about has nothing to do with every single country outside of the U.S. because what they've been doing in New York, it almost doesn't affect the other 49 states, because the other 49 states, they had their own rules, and then you can just onboard
Right. That's
in
true.
other ways. But
But
it's just
it's like if it's happening in
mm,
New York, it's one of the major states of the country, it's like it's gonna kind of trickle. It's a trickle effect. What happens in Washington D.C. spreads throughout the country. What happens in California spreads throughout the country. What happens in Texas or Florida, whatever, like certain major states, it just has that influence that it spreads. So I get what you're saying. We can't like on ramp into the like centralized markets, like because of all these regulations. How can we go down the rabbit hole of DeFi, whether it's a DGen project or it's a proper use case of yield farming or yield, staking or whatever, to be able to do our business if we're being stopped at the centralized. It's just like, I believe it's just that the Binance got too big. It's like they got too big with exposing themselves. Like they dox themselves. This is my place of business. This is where I'm at. Come find me if some shit was to hit the fan. Like, and then now I got to make a deal and become a broker, like what you're saying. I got to make an under the table deal, so the government gets their part, but then it's like we are limited, and our hands are tied. So that means, we have to be like these
they
angel
already
investors.
Binance cut a
I get what you're
deal.
saying. I think it's if the people
Yeah,
push back, they can write more code. Like if Bitcoin did it, if whoever the creator of
there you go.
Bitcoin, was able to write these decentralized or these sophisticated technologies to, it's just think, if you think the government hackers, how much more hackers is in the black market or whatever? Is much more people that's very more experienced. That's how crypto came about. It's like that's how every new technology comes out. It's somebody's very more experienced in the government. The government is just like the framework that holds everything together for the country. But then there's very smart people that's not even the frame of the government. That's not the president. That's not the governor. That's not the congressman. You feel me? Like they are very got the wits. They didn't even go to school. They drop out. Like, but they know so much more. So that's how, we are able to sustain and maintain like all these new technologies. This is better than Bitcoin. This is better than Ethereum. This is better than Cardano. It's just more sustainable. It does this to solve this problem. Well, because that means the smart people are at work and they're smarter than the government. So it's us allowing the government to do it. So we want the government, if we want regulation, we allow them to. But if we don't, we can push back because we're smarter. That's all
That's
I'm
the
saying.
thing, though,
Like,
is
I
law,
get
though.
what you're
It's
saying.
law. So I mean, the only way we can broke it now is like 66%
And you
of
said it's
the
law from when? From like,
November of 2021. So it's called
right.
the
Well,
infrastructure
it's scary
bill.
though, but
Yeah, they made. I mean, ev basically every single regulation that they're going to the news in the last 2 3 months saying we need. It's already been approved since November of 2021. It's just they said it starts in January of 2024, and then the exchanges become brokers. That's why every single exchange between now and December of 2023, all the exchanges are going to declare bankruptcy. Coinbase,
But isn't that
Binance
where we can
US,
just use a
Gemini.
VPN? Like, you feel me? Like America's still
No,
just one
no,
country, right? Like, I'm
no,
just saying,
because
like,
but
I
it's
mean,
just
I know America,
the
this is what I'm saying. America has influence. So when it happens in America, it tends to trickle across different countries. Like I said, what happens in New York, it tends to trickle across the states and the country. What I'm saying is, if that is not necessarily the case per se, is that America is just America, even though it's a world power. I'm saying, can't we just use a VPN or go around the regulation? Or you don't
no,
think
because
that's
part of the
really possible?
regulation says that every $600 that you get in Venmo has to get reported to the IRS. So if you unload every $600, so sure, I mean, I guess if you want to unload $599 for every day, but Venmo is, at one point they're going to
But
start
what I'm saying
reporting
is
it.
like Venmo, PayPal, the banks in the country is not the only source of our exchange of transaction. Like you can just move to a different country. That's what I'm kind of saying. You can already have like, your different addresses, like home addresses, like across the whole country. I mean, not the whole country, the whole world. Like I'm over in Poland, I'm over in this country, like where those stipulations are not like, so I'm just saying because of our smarts and our wits as upcoming, like,
It's just the IRS.
we're the
The
one that's
IRS
bringing up new technology.
hires. The IRS hires certain people to track other people, right? And
Yeah,
then they
that's
either
how they thumbs
pay
in,
these
right?
people to teach other people about crypto taxes or teach about other people about blockchain analysis, or they just pay millions of dollars to chain analysis to just do all this tracking for them. So
I get it. Like
it's
you can still
yeah,
run, but you can't hide. Like
it's
Sam, he ran to the
it's
Bahamas and they
dude,
feel
it's
like, we
exactly
found you.
what they're doing. Because my issue right now is that they're holding down the off ramps, and then every single buck that you get out, now it's gonna have a problem. Let's say, sure, let's do an example. Let's say at some point I put a couple $1,000 in Hex, then it went all this high. Now it's a high. It could be 100x up. Well, maybe they still think I only have a couple $1,000 in the markets. Maybe they think, man, the markets are down 90%. This dude has to be wrecked, right? But then now, every time I take money out, especially if, like I said earlier, this is something that I wish Mike didn't take it, that I'm trying to FUD or something. It's just this is
Right,
approved and it's coming in a year from now. And it says that, let's
right,
say that right now I sell you a car and the car is worth $10,000, then it's almost like I have to do my own suspicious activity report, even if I'm not a financial
right.
institution. They want people to just report on people. So they want people to just ask for social security number, address, all kinds of weird. I don't know how they're
Right,
gonna
but
implement that.
that's where I'm telling you it gets too big. Like for example,
There
you
you go.
want regulation on Coinbase because you want to have that security that your money is going to come out. You want regulation on Binance because Binance is too big to fail. And then when it fails, like, where's my money? You feel me? That's what I'm saying. But there's certain other alternatives that from other countries that you can off ramp your money. Like, you just think that people in like some Spain, they only rely on PayPal or only on
Spain is worse.
Cash
No,
App.
don't even mention Spain,
I
dude.
don't no
I did.
no not
I
I'm
did.
not I'm
I
just
did.
calling a random country. I'm
I
just calling it
did.
as a
No, but
random
I
country.
know.
That's
I
what it
know
is.
as a joke, but it's I did a tax presentation for them, and they'd actually take the taxes directly out of the crypto transactions. So that's your own off
Okay, well, let's
ramping.
call El
They're like,
Salvador.
give me my
Let's say
money.
just some random. I'm just saying, like countries that like say, yeah, crypto is the next big thing. I'm saying we all don't rely on the same means, like Bank
Yeah,
of
agreed.
America. Like, no, that's Bank of
Agreed.
America. So that's different from what other countries have their own means of off ramping. I get what you're saying. Like, that is a concern for the future for how everything is integrating because of New World Order, New World Agenda. So everything is probably
True.
integrating together like CBCDs. But America CBDs is probably going to be different from China CBDs. That's what I'm saying. It's still the uniqueness of America versus China. They don't do everything the same way because we say China's communist and we're democracy, so we're different, or at least we try to perceive that. So what I'm saying is the limitations that America, even though it's like the world power, doesn't mean that every other country is subjected to that. You feel me? Like
But
they be like, oh
the
yeah,
thing is,
you can't
the
join if you're
U.S.
from
the
America. You
U.S.
know how these
is
other countries, they be like, if you're from America, you can't join, but then people still use the back door, like they use VPNs and just like work around. I'm just saying,
the,
I get what you're
yeah, but
saying. I
my
see
only
both
thing with the
sides of the
U.S.
coin.
though is that the U.S. will always be for sale to the highest bidder. And if the highest bidder
Oh,
is China, then we become China.
no,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
get it.
like,
It's like they'll give the highest price. Like, whoever can find this guy, Sam Freeman, will award you $10 billion. Like,
something like that.
yeah,
I mean,
I don't
it's
want
just
I don't want to be chased by
the
the
way I
country.
see it. The way I see it, I see them buying all this. I mean, all they would need to do is just start buying little by little BlackRock and little by little Goldman Sachs, and then all of a sudden they buy into JP Morgan, and then they control the Fed, and then they control Big Pharma, and then it just trickles down, and then all of a sudden I have to give up my ID, I have to buy a cell phone, I have to do all this stuff that I don't want to do. You know, it's
Yeah,
just one of
I get
those.
what you're saying. If there is a valid concern, and I think that's what Mike didn't want to expose that like to the people or to himself really, because that's why he
Oh,
left.
gotcha.
Like everybody else is still here. Like for it to be like I'm a realist, like so I understand what you're saying, like because that's just proper conversation, checks and balance in crypto. Like you talk about all these things, and I'm glad that we extended because the thing is we wouldn't even start it like if it was such an issue, we wouldn't have the minute we moved away from talking about Hex and Icosa, it would have already been an issue. Like somebody was in here talking about their diet, and we were talking about COVID earlier. Like we wouldn't even have talked about COVID if that was an issue. Like, oh, people in here
We
had
get
COVID.
sometimes we digress. Yeah.
It's a sensitive topic, but that's how community is created: is by people expressing their opinions. Like that's our community.
Right.
So I get what he's
It's
saying,
just
but I still want to research. Like I get what you're saying, but I'm also getting what he says. Like I'm not running away from an opportunity just
Oh
because
no, I
I'm
mean not
afraid of
at
the
all. I mean,
risk.
like that's the thing. Us that we're in, I think that they're gonna have to work with us. Like they're gonna have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
grandfather us in, and then instead of making us
It's like
accredited
it's like
investors
it's like the guy that
qualified,
hacks the government, and then the government goes and arrests him and SWAT
there
team
you go,
and
and you
busts
give
down
me
his
a
door.
job.
But then the guy has to get his terms because he got the back door. He has the key into the hack. You feel me? Now they got to hire him. Now the hacker has to be the inside guy. You feel me? Or does the hacker go to jail? Like we can use you. Let's buy you out. Well, that's all they can do. So it's like crypto, they're advancing the technology. They're over, like they're going faster than the government's technology. Like we're creating our own
True,
technology. So we're gonna buy them out. Yeah, that's all you gotta do. That's all you can do.
that's true.
They're gonna go after all the who first? Like you're shielded. I'm shielded. Like who they go after first? There's always gonna be a new cryptocurrency anyway in the DeFi space. Or rather the DeFi space is always gonna get better in innovation with the current technology that's there, with the current, projects that's there. You feel me? So there's always a way out. That's why there's what is it called? Like um hierarchy or whatever. Like, even though Sam, I think you were saying, or somebody was saying, like, when FTX come back, or if it comes back, like, Sam Freeman ain't gonna come back, right? Because everybody wants him. Like, nah, send that brother to jail.
Yeah, no, he
It's just
will.
somebody
He will be
replace him.
running that place. He will be running that place again. I can almost guarantee it. It might be in 5 years, it might be 3. He might get locked up and then get released for good behavior, but he'll be back there.
Yeah.
Like
So I mean, I think it's
just
what people
he
want.
got way
Like,
too way too many breaks to be where he was. So
yeah,
that
I mean,
means he was
my
placed there
my
by
like, I
someone,
know people
probably
use
Klaus.
exchanges. I know people use
Mhm.
exchanges for more than just holding things, but a lot of people still lost money. But everybody was given that disclaimer: don't put your money on, or don't leave your money. Literally before this even happened, because
Right.
bull market, bear market, this exchange went down. Wasn't it there was an issue with Celsius before FTX? There was literally, and then everybody on
Yeah,
YouTube,
they
everybody on
just gave
Twitter.
him the money. Like yesterday, they gave him all the Friday, they gave him all the money to Mashinsky. So basically, they said, "Well, you fucked up. You screwed everyone. You were using the money for all this stuff, but here's all these billions of dollars." So they get, like, right now they gave him all this money until this case is resolved. And what he's going to do now is he's probably going to apply now to work back on Celsius tomorrow, because he had quit and then he was not working for Celsius anymore. So he's going to get rehired. Now he's going to get a bonus. He's going to ask for $1 million a month. He's going to pay all his
That's
coworkers all
crazy.
this money. And then by the time the creditors get their money, there's not going to be anything. And then I think this is going to be the same they're going to do with Sam, because it's like, this dude, it's going to somehow prove that the same thing that Celsius just did. He's going to somehow, there's going to be a little piece of document in that user agreement that is going to say, I can take your money and put it into Alameda. And then all this discussion that we've had for 2 months will mean nothing, because everyone would have agreed and he did everything as they did. Then the price of the
Right.
market will go up. The reserves that they have now will do 5, 10x. And then, I mean, it's just, we're
Yeah.
living in like some
Well,
weird times. And I just,
right.
the fact that they just gave Celsius the money, it's just going to trickle down. I think now this is gonna give them like a blueprint. Now, like, Gemini is already telling DCG, "Hey, give me the money." Genesis is not paying them the money, so now it's a race. Who's gonna go bankrupt first, Genesis or Gemini? And now that they're gonna see that this guy got the money, they're probably just gonna do it as well. It's gonna be, the government has created such a shitstorm for the users, and they this is all planned. I mean, it's completely planned. They want all these exchanges to declare bankruptcy, reorganize, do KYC, do AML, and do all this stuff. It's pretty messed up the way they're doing it, but
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I understand. I think that just calls for, like, everyone in the DeFi, or leaders of DeFi, to just put their heads together. Like, we're better, we're stronger, like, united than we
yeah,
are divided, type of thing, I guess.
100%, 100%. That's the thing. It's like
Because
right
I don't know
now, if we
anything
could,
about I
mm,
don't even know anything about blockchain and coding, but I know how to participate and do research and just be a part of the community and the support
that's awesome.
of the space. But it's up to those, that are above you, so to speak. Like, I'm the child, then I look at the uncle, I look at the father, I look at the aunt that is actually well versed in the coding and the blockchain, and give them all my 100% support, type of thing. That's what I mean by we're better together. Let all the coders come together, let all the geeks and nerds come together, and then let's make it happen, type of thing.
True.
But yeah, other than that, like,
Now we're still in an amazing position because we're already in. That's the thing. It's like they cannot. It's not like they can kick us out, right? So like my whole concern is that while a lot of people just think about the next 24-hour pump, I'm thinking about the next 10 years. And I guess that's my complaint because in 20 like my issue that I was trying to say with Mike is just that there can never be let's not talk about this because in 2012 I had these issues and then in 2014 they told me that when the IRS puts this as property that's good because we're not a commodity because we're not this because we're not that because we're going to have all these incentives because when we pump we can swap it into a house because we can do like kind exchanges, so they gave me all these stories, right? And then in 2014 they got screwed. Then in 2017, they took my like kind exchange, so now I couldn't buy my house for zero taxes. In 2019, they added new rules for airdrops and forks, and then it's the same thing. It's like it never gets discussed, but then they keep adding and adding and adding and taking. And then some of us that we've been here for like 10 years, we can like look and then say like, oh wow, they've taken so much, and now crypto's just not crypto anymore because originally we were supposed to all transfer between our own, we were all having our own nodes, we were all verifying our own transactions, and now I that's just not even heard of. Like now you barely even hear people mining, and in the next probably in the next 12 to 18 months they're going to try to go after everyone that does proof of work. um So but that's just obviously like another subject for you said, like another subject for another day. But but yeah, no, no, on
Yeah,
our
I mean,
side,
I'm
yeah,
like
I agree
thinking
with
is
you. Yeah, Daniel.
innovation. I mean, crypto is innovating every day. Like it's like this hidden gem. This like you see how much coins they
Yes,
say. Every coin now these days is like better than Bitcoin supposedly. You feel me? So it's like if innovation is
that's
happening
true.
that much, like eventually we're going to outpace the government. No, you think the government is
That's
just going to outpace the crypto community, bro?
um,
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I mean,
that's a
unless
great
the
question.
government is the owner of Bitcoin, like if it's that type of crazy, then we have no.
I have like a super crazy theory on that. If you want to listen to it real quick, I mean, I don't think that it was like the government that owns
Shit.
it. I think that it was created by a group of people, and then I think an agency took access of it in 2011. So I think technically now they do own it because they do own those million Satoshi coins and then some other coins from the Department of Justice that they've confiscated. But that's the thing. It's like what with Bitcoin, I don't think they can manipulate the code itself. Like I don't think they can like hack the code. But I just think that they own more coins than I do. So they can tell the price, all right, stay at 18, go to 16, go back to 20. And then as the guys were talking earlier, um, you know how they were talking about leverage. So what they do is just basically they wreck people going up and going down. Because when we start going up, let's say we're going to 21 or something like that, then it's a group of people that say, yeah, Bitcoin's going back to 30,000 or 40 and let's go long. And then they just wreck those people because the second that they start putting their long positions, they dump the price back down and then those people get liquidated. And then happens again. Then there's a bunch of people that say, oh, well, I think Bitcoin's going to go to 5,000. Let me go short. And then the second that goes to 15,000, boop, they pump it again. And that's I guess that's my thing with what the banks have been doing with specifically with Bitcoin in the last 2 years. You know that they don't manipulate the code, but they do the same thing that they do with the commodity markets. You know how like they keep gold and silver at a specific price ranges. So us in
You know
DeFi, we're
what? I
just in
think
the
I narrowed it
yeah
down. I think I
yeah bro.
narrowed it down. I think your thing is about on ramping and off ramping. Like, how do you get your funds out of like the market, like the crypto market, and how do you like and like where are we going? Like on the path that we are, how are we? Like, what's the plan? Like we're gonna make a lot of money.
Exactly.
It'll be
Yeah,
paper money.
exactly. Imagine that I have like $1 million in hex right now, and we're at like 2 pennies. Well, I'm thinking where when we're like $1, I'm gonna have like $50 million. Or what am I gonna do with it? How am I gonna get it out? So that's my
I think that's a valid point. Like got me thinking. I'm like, that's true.
yeah, because
How
I mean,
come we're
like
not talking about that?
I saw
Mm.
that I saw a guy from they're completely unrelated, but he bought a meme coin and he bought it at an exchange that has limits. So at some point he had like a couple $1 billion in this meme coin, but then he could only get out so much. So it was hilarious because like every day for the rest of his life he could get
Is
out like
that was that because of
10,000.
liquidity?
No, no,
Was that a
because
liquidity
of
issue?
just limits, just limits. There's actually a situation where the coin is very liquid. It's very liquid. It's actually I was talking about a sheep. So that is very liquid. If he would have been on DeFi, it would have been amazing. He would have killed it. But he was on Coinbase. So that on Coinbase, what happens is that they limit you depending on what range you're in, because Coinbase has like three different. Coinbase has like Coinbase, Coinbase Pro, and Coinbase Prime, which is their brokers side, and then they obviously they give you more. You pay more, but then you get more. So you probably pay more for their service, but then they tell you here you could take out $5 million a day. Where if you're in their free version, then they limit you, so you can only take I think it's like 25,000. But he had made like a couple $1 billion. So to take out, he would have to take $25,000 every day for the rest of
Yeah,
his life.
he would have definitely needed to be in the Coinbase Pro.
Exactly. So yeah, it's just crazy things that I think about sometimes.
Well, crypto is the wild, wild west. So
Hmm.
yeah, but I like
Yeah.
it. It's new. It's
Hmm.
like I believe most people in the crypto space are very smart. So I think it could be to that point where we just outsmart. Like we didn't. Oh, revelation! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! And then like, bam, we just like outsmart the government. Like outsmart the big guy that put you in the box. Like every time a box is built, you get out the box. Like that's crypto. Because they're always finding a new technology, a new blockchain, a new, something to solve a problem. That's what crypto is. Like, how do we solve this problem? How do we
Yep.
solve that problem? How do we solve all the problems? Let's like in years we're gonna I believe at the pace that we are going, it's probably gonna outpace. It's like the government is a dinosaur, like government dinosaur.
Sure, that's true.
And then, like that's what crypto has been doing. It's always been outpacing the government, always leaving them a step behind when we think they're about to take a step ahead of us. Like, so I mean, hey, look, I understand where you're coming from about the on ramping, off ramping. We just don't want to be stuck in DeFi. So we gotta kind of connect the two.
Right, exactly. I mean, DeFi, it's gonna kick butt for the next, however so years, and it's just like I said, I keep hearing what some of the politicians offer, and then I see what they did in New York, and I mean, New York would be so much better for crypto in the last 8 years, but they approved that bit license, and their original idea was great. It was to protect users, and everyone needed to be regulated, and everybody need to be approved and go through all these hoops. Uh, but
Isn't that the
people,
thing? Aren't there like DeFi exchanges? Like there's DeFi means of on ramping and on ramping. It's not just centralized exchanges. Don't we have
no, but
DeFi
that's
exchanges where
the
we can
thing. It's
actually
like
take?
at least the way they work here. Uh, if they're gonna work or accept dollars and do off ramp, on ramp, they're gonna have to have some type of money transfer service or money license or money, some type of banking agreement or FinCEN or OFAC. Yeah, no, the state basically what they've done always with crypto is just apply old rules. So if you wanted to use crypto to transact, then you had to have like, some type of money service, like almost like if you were Western Union or MoneyGram. And then and then if you wanted to just throw your own project, then they apply your securities laws. Those are from the 30s. And so it's one of those. We've always been. That's why I always, as a joke, I always say when government says that, well, there's not regulation. It's like, no, yeah, everything is regulated. Like you're being either enforced rules from SEC or CFTC or FinCEN or OFAC or the banking system, but it's just they don't apply them. Like what this dude did, SBF, that's just plain old stealing. You know what I mean? Like they don't need new rules for this. This is the same rules. Just apply the same rules. Arrest the guy for stealing billions of dollars. How difficult is that? They don't need a paper that says digital dollars. No, it's just that he stole. So, but I think that he's. It's just looking at what this guy did, Mashinsky, and how they're giving him the money and everything. I mean, like the lady from New York, the attorney general, she's trying. She's trying to sue him back, but it's. I mean, I was very surprised that the judge even gave him the money because it's just going to trigger a bunch of exchanges now to be like, oh, so I can declare bankruptcy, I can reorganize the books, I keep the money, I wait for the market to pump, I keep the difference, I wreck my users, all in before lunch.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what the thing is? It's like
Mhm.
what we give our limitations to in the crypto space is lack of trust. So big regulators, like big guy regulators, is trying to be the mediator of establishing trust. You know what? Let's establish trust. Well, I will regulate you. So you don't have to worry about what they're doing. They don't have to worry about what you're doing, but we're supposed to be a community, but that can't trust each other. That's already a caveat already. Like, if you establish trust, like for example, we know the dev and we see like there's a lot of transparency. I think with individual crypto projects, trust is established, but like when you look at the greater community, it's like, we don't really you're a stranger, I'm a stranger, I don't know you, I don't touch you with my money unless we build trust like the communities. I think that's a part of the problem is a regulator have to come in because like who is Sam? Like, he's just an exchange, but what everybody else said is that this is a good exchange. So I'm gonna go and use their services, put my money in there and
Right.
then like suffer the risk. You feel me? So that's why I say it's like a lot, how people like, oh, as I predicted, like, bro, you didn't predict nothing. But then at the same time, or did you? You feel me? Because like I told you so. I was like, well,
Oh
nobody really
man,
knows.
I did on August. I did a video on it. I actually named him. Like I said FTX because
Oh
he
yeah.
put some weird money into Voyager, and I just at that point it didn't make no sense to me. I was thinking, how is this dude, as the other 99 effing percent of crypto is wrecked as fuck? This dude was just like opening the wallet like it was like Christmas Day. So I just remember thinking, this dude is wrecked. This dude is like hiding something because he was just trying to buy anything. And I remember what triggered me was Voyager hadn't even came out with their numbers, right? So basically, Voyager goes out public and says, "We're wrecked. We owe billions of dollars, and we are insolvent." Right? Those are basically like the three things that we have heard of them. And this dude goes publicly and says, well, since you guys owe me like $50 million, well, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a line of credit to all your clients. And I was like, and then he was saying that he was just trying to do it to save these people from Voyager and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this just doesn't make no fucking sense. It's like one dude from one exchange is opening this line of credit from other people from other exchange. So I was like, this dude is just vampiring attack all this users. So yeah, man, I did a video and I said all these exchanges are going bankrupt. I said even FTX, and it happened. It's just the way it's just, but it wasn't because of FTX. It was because of that effing rule, that rule that they approved in November. Because it's just, I'm telling you, nobody in the community was talking about that rule in November, and then we did a video, me and Lit, and we talked about it. We were like, "Nah, man, this is big. This is big for crypto." And that's what they were discussing. They were discussing becoming brokers. They were discussing, and I was like, "Dude, all these exchanges are gonna they're not gonna have all this information." You know what I mean? Like it's just what the government was asking. It's impossible. It's just impossible. So basically, what they're doing is just they're trying to create a line in the sand that they can say, yeah, on this day, we declare bankruptcy and we have the documents starting the day after. The day before, we were using QuickBooks. You know what I mean? And I mean that's exactly what FTX is gonna get away with because they're not gonna be able to prove that there was wrongdoing because he was hiding all this stuff. Like I'm sure they'd had all their books. It's just they're not gonna give them to the government. They're gonna know exactly what they were doing. But yeah, it's just government screwed up on this one because they gave all these exchanges way too much power. With that move of just saying, oh yeah, by the way, starting on this day, January 1st of 2024, you guys need to have all these documents and all these compliance documentation and requirements and blah blah blah. And it's just most of these exchanges, just I knew they were not gonna have it. It's just they work so irresponsibly in the last however many years. Like you would contact them and they contact you 2 weeks later and that type of
Do you
stuff.
think Binance is at risk for the same reasons of
You
not
know what?
being prepared?
I'm confused with Binance. I'm confused with Binance because they keep buying other stuff. Like right now, that same move that FTX was trying to do of acquire Voyager, now they're trying to now Binance US is trying to acquire Voyager. So I don't know if are they doing the same play, meaning are they wrecked and then they're just like, sure, buy this, buy that, buy whatever, or are they really in a good
Like,
position
how
and
did
they
they
can
not
just
know that FTX
uh,
was just going to go down really bad if they was trying to buy FTX right before it went down, right? Wasn't it?
I
It wasn't
think
all the news
CC
like, oh,
knew.
we're gonna buy FTX. It's gonna recover. Everything's gonna be all right. Oh no, we're not buying it. We're
Right.
leaving it alone.
Yeah, no, I think CC just knew that FTX was over leveraged on those tokens. Like once he knew, oh wow, they're holding like this much on FTT, let me just dump this thing. Um, but with Binance, I'm very confused because what could happen with Binance is let's say that they ask for those $2 billion back. So they say, hey, that FTX money, you need to give it back. So the government gets the money and then that would be the problem. Like it's Binance. Do they have just $2 billion just chilling under the mattress, just waiting for the government to ask it back, or are they going to suffer some serious consequences when they do ask for it back? And it should be in probably a year now. The good thing is like it looks like it's going to slow down. So I think that Binance is going to have enough time. Like they make enough money in fees that all they probably have to do is just raise a half of a percentage point for the next 12 months and then they'll make $2 billion in fees. Um, but what does worry me since you asked the question is that the auditor dropped them. So I can't read into that. I had never seen that move. where someone pays an auditor and says, "Hey, here, I'm giving you money so that you come and you audit my accounts and you tell the world what did you find," and then the auditor does the job, everything is fine, but then says, "Hey, by the way, I'm dropping you. Don't use my name. Don't say that I did an audit for you." So I'm confused. I don't know if it's just because I I think they were using the audit in the wrong way. Like when you say proof of reserves, it should be to prove a moment in time, and you say to the world, "Hey, on Friday at 4 o'clock, these were my reserves," right? And then that's it. That's as good, that's as good as it is, because we know that in the blockchain, 6 minutes later, you can empty an account of $5 or 5 billion. And weeks later, a whole week or two later, they were still trying to reference the audit. So they were going to the world and telling them, "Oh yeah, we got audited like 2 weeks ago. Look at this audit." And then the auditor was like, "Bro, that audit is like dead. Like don't tell the world that I audit you, because you're gonna make me look like a moron." So I don't know if it's because of that, because they were using the audit in the wrong way, or because they know more than we know. And then they're like, "Well, yeah, I don't want to audit this. I don't want to audit the Titanic, as it's getting filled with water." So I think Biden in US is going to declare bankruptcy because of this thing with the infrastructure bill. But I don't think it's because of their numbers. I think it's because the government has screwed up and is giving every single exchange in the US an absolute out to reorganize, keep the money, clear the paperwork, and then start business as usual as a broker January 1st of 2024. So I wouldn't be surprised if every single exchange except Kraken declares bankruptcy, because Kraken seems like the only exchange that has some kind of like moral standard. Everyone else just kind of like goes with the flow.
I pretty
Like
much
whatever.
I
I'm sorry,
predominantly
go ahead.
use Coinbase.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying I predominantly use Coinbase to go in and out of markets. So it was like
Mhm.
just to think
Coinbase is
about
good.
all the.
Coinbase was dropping, like their stock was dropping, and so that was basically it. They had like really big drops in their stock, but I think that once they got like the BlackRock blessing, as I call it, so they BlackRock put some big money. So I don't know if now that means, all right, here's the money, now we don't need to declare bankruptcy, or if they'll still would do it just to reorganize. Because
Because I know they had
it's
laid off a lot
uh,
of laid off a lot of people.
gotcha. Yeah, no, it's just the way the government set it up. It's just for the paperwork, because most of these exchanges they weren't doing this. The whole suspicious activity report, all this stuff. This is banking. This is banking procedures. This is not centralized exchanges. Uh, so so what they're gonna need that I don't think they've been doing. And I know some of the thresholds that Coinbase used to report were like at 20,000, and so it was almost double of what they're gonna be now. Uh, so yeah, I've been telling
Well,
everyone, just if you have money in an exchange, uh, just have it for the 2 3 days that they hold them from you, and then just that's it.
and
Uh,
don't even talk about crypto.com. They're in like a rock and hard place.
yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that they're getting in trouble in Australia with some
I really had high
sponsors.
ever since that ad
Mm,
from what his name was
which one?
the arena ad. Ever since there, that then when it was like at 50 cents, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna go back to $1 and they're gonna go to $2, and I was just like, maybe.
Dude,
And
the
now it's
day
at
that
like,
they announced that, I remember saying, in 3 years, the Lakers arena is not gonna be called Crypto.com. And I still
right.
remember Amanda. I bet Kismet's still here. He maybe remembers. Like I remember Amanda, like, no, it's not gonna be like that. I was like, Mando, I don't know, bro, but it's just they were too forward. And I was like, Mando, some of these deals are like 15 and 30 years. Like baseball does 30-year deals when they do naming rights. So I was like, bro, in the next 30 years, like there's gonna be all kinds of cycles. There's gonna be all kinds of dumps. So I'm surprised that they've lasted and all
Oh
this
yeah, it
stuff.
was
I
Matt
checked their
Damon. He did that
man,
commercial.
damn it, I remember that
Yeah.
one.
So I'm like, what the like what did he do? He just get paid and like, okay, I'll do it.
Dude, all of them are gonna get sued. Like the ones from FTX, they're already getting sued. Shaq, Tom Brady, Stephen, oh my god, I forgot his name. He plays basketball.
Well, you know,
A bu-
all these influencers, all they go are they're only just paid. Like, I'll do it if you pay me. Like, but they gotta get their
Mhm.
lawyer and accountant involved and like to do research. But it's like if they don't have no research, like that strong backing to just vet the company or whatever, then they just like, oh,
Yeah,
you're gonna pay me millions of dollars to do this?
yeah,
Sure.
like, yeah, I'll
Then
take it.
they get the
Do whatever.
backlash. Yeah, I mean, and that's what it'd be like in the DJ space. It'd be like, oh, this X, Y, and Z is
Yep.
sponsoring us. Oh my gosh, let's
Yeah.
go. And then next thing you know, it's like, well, they gotta have that accountability. So I'll be getting excited my own self, like in the DJing world. I'd be like, oh yeah, we're getting this sponsor, this celebrity is calling us out. They're gonna post a tweet or Instagram about us.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That was like 2015. It's like they're describing the whole 2015. It's like that was like everyone because like there was like no tech. It was like you used to have a website, a bunch of pictures of random people that nobody knew, and then some random partnership. Like that was it. Like they'd be like, dude, I heard it. There's some partnerships. I heard that this guy went to McDonald's. He bought a McFlurry, so I think there's a McDonald's partnership coming in the works. We can feel it. Dude, like I used to remember that stuff. It used to be like that with cars. It used to be like that with Amazon. Like Amazon was always like, oh yeah, there's gonna be a partnership with Amazon. Like they're gonna use their blockchain and like this random shitcoin is gonna be Amazon's blockchain. And then later I still don't remember when I figured out, wait, so all they had to do is they build their own blockchain, so they never needed any of these shit coins. And for like 2 or 3 years, that was like everyone would say, be like, no, I think that Amazon's gonna use this blockchain or that blockchain or the other blockchain. And even earlier, like some of the guys were talking about like privacy, that they're just gonna use privacy coins. That's what JP Morgan did. They did like some version of Ethereum which is private. So in my opinion, JP Morgan's version of Ethereum is probably better than Ethereum because it has privacy on it.
Right. You remember Monero?
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm like, let me look at that. Let me look that one up. Like, where's the old coins, like the OGs from like you said, from 2015, and
Yeah, Monero's
you know.
probably dumped crap out of it.
No, I'm saying like they all dump, but like you know how they can make this mega comeback type of thing. Monero. And what's that other one?
XMR.
It actually is not bad. The price. Oh wow. It's
Mm.
158 Monero.
Well, maybe people are thinking about the whole regulation. Then they're like, "Oh shit, let's buy this thing." The thing is, like, I was thinking soon. I was like, that's gonna be like their next thing. Like they're good. Like if they're already going after mixers, then the next thing they're gonna go for is privacy coins. You know, because if anyone's trying to just have a little bit of privacy, then that's a problem. So, but
Like the
yeah,
longevity of crypto is having that, that the longevity and the security of crypto is having those type of backdoors, like that wild card. Like crypto always had the wild card, where like the government
That's
is
true.
very slow and drag its foot and is does everything like from the past as opposed to the
Yeah,
future.
that's
So
true.
it's like
That's why the
crypto is probably
COVID.
always going to be one step ahead.
Yeah. Even if it's like 35% on Monero, I don't think it's a bad idea because if at some point you need to make a payment, and it was just this example, if you had to make a payment 20, 30, $40 and you're paying like your neighbor or something like that, like you don't want him to know all your crypto portfolio, right? So you pay him something, you pay him the 20, $30 and that's it. But government always makes it into like, no, it's just all these criminals and blah blah blah. So, but I agree with you. We're already in, and we're in a really good position. So now it's just a matter of just being ready for the next bull market. But yeah, I think I'm gonna skip out
A
Daniels.
lot
It
of
was
people
a
are
it was a
saying
really
it's
good
going to be.
conversation, brother.
A lot of people saying like this year is the accumulation phase, and then like
Oh, for
24,
sure.
25, it's going to be like boom.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
Yeah, I
when I
saw your
see it like
channel. I
this.
looked up your channel. Wait, did I?
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
I have most of my videos private, but I have like 400 videos in that channel. But just in the last, like after the whole SEC thing and all the fun and all the stuff, I just started putting all my videos private. I was like, it sucks, but it's like you can't even talk about the stuff you like. It's a mess.
Yeah, I think I just saw what your live stuff. Like everything else, I don't think I could see.
Oh, got you. Yeah, no, I've been doing lives like every day, 4:15 p.m.
Right.
Like, so tomorrow I'm doing another one. Talking about taxes, but it's one of those. So yeah. So yeah, brother, good conversation. So I hope you have a good one, man.
Hopefully, we can talk again tomorrow. All right.
Have a good one, brother. Squirrel. I see Squirrel and Kiss, but have a good night, guys.